This week on 4K Kings, we'll be covering Pitch Black in 4K, Edge of Tomorrow in 4K, new releases of The Love Witch, BASEKETBALL, and much more.
And we're back. Welcome back, Russ.
Hi, Matt.
Hello. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for returning. If you've been with us, thanks for coming back and joining us for another week at Blu News Reviews. I am Matt.
I am Russ.
And if you're new to this channel, we are your 4K Kings covering mainly physical media, but also just general movie news, movie topics in general that we like to cover every once in a while. If you are watching this right now, you could be listening to it on Spotify. And if you are listening to this on Spotify, you could be watching this on YouTube. So make up your mind and just watch both. For everybody that has been returning, thanks for always commenting and engaging with us throughout the weeks and the months that we've been doing this, and kind of commenting and chiming in on our videos, and thumbs up, liking us, being our friends. Yes. Visiting Russ at work, all that kind of good stuff. We really appreciate all those things. If you haven't subscribed, please consider it. Click that button. Still about half of you that are watching aren't subscribed. We'd really appreciate if you did, but thanks anyway for just coming back and watching us time and time again.
And even I'd say around 75% of our subscribers still have not watched our Eddie Murphy segment.
No, you're correct. They haven't. And you should get to that. And speaking of which, last week we did cover some Eddie Murphy. We covered Raging Bull. We covered Eternal Sunshine. And, of course, checked in on our boy Johnny Depp to see how he's doing, which that's still going on at this point. Amber Heard has now taken the stand. When we covered him, he had only been up there. Now she's there, and everyone's, like, picking apart pretty much everything that she's saying. Whether or not, is she lying? Is she, like, doing coke up there? Like, there's all kinds of, like, weird conspiracies and like people that are like body language experts that are like breaking down like that was a lie or that was probably truthful and all this stuff. I don't know. Still, the jury is in that no one likes her anyway. Who knows what's going to happen of the findings of this case? But I don't think the internet's being too kind to her at this point.
Fascinating.
I don't have an opinion either way. I just like Johnny Depp and I wish him the best. Our Uncut version is also up now, so if you wanted to hear all the Uncut conversations we had about all of those topics, you can do so at this point. Please do so. This week, we're going to be talking about some Arrow 4K news, some 4K Steelbooks. We're going to be giving our recommendations. Pitch Black 4K is coming out from Turbine Media in a pretty awesome set. BASEKETBALL is being put back out. Edge of Tomorrow 4K, which is a favorite of mine, which is also getting a 4K for the first time. So we got a lot to cover.
Lot to cover, Russ.
But before we get to all those things, I feel like this is like a regular occurrence, but we have to sort of go through.
What disc replacement program was offered this week?
This week, we got to talk about delays. We got to talk about disc replacement programs. We got to talk about blatant art plagiarization. Plagiarization. So first up is everyone's favorite Arrow 4K release, 12 Monkeys. Our good friend Bruce Willis. We covered this segment a while ago. I've owned this not ever on, I think it was Arrow, and now they put a 4K, almost like identical version of it out, kind of like they have been doing like lately.
I picked up the initial Blu-ray release. I didn't upgrade to 4K.
I had never picked up the Blu-ray release, and thankfully I didn't because now I can pick up the 4K. However, I'm not going to pick this one up because there is something wrong with it again. And I've got the note here that Arrow put out, which I find to be fairly interesting, not only because they are explaining what's wrong, but they are, I don't want to say trying not to take any blame, but they are really trying to let you know, like, this was out of our control. And after that, they are kind of giving a note that's like, we are trying our best to find the root cause of these problems. Please let us know. So it's kind of
I read the note, and what shocked me, it's like we all know Bruce Willis's mental health condition. Why blame him for this?
Exactly. Why, Arrow? It's very, very unkind of you. Zavvi, correct. So here's what Zavvi has to say. Thank you to everyone who has supported us recently, especially with our Easter sale and range of new releases. Sadly, we've identified a fault on our 12 Monkeys UHD disc, where at approximately 41 minutes, some footage is briefly repeated with no interruption to the soundtrack. This error was not spotted by the producers, the facility that carried out the work, or the filmmaker who approved the restoration. The fault was traced to the initial 4K data when one of the scanned reels contained some overlap in content, and this wasn't flagged in the initial conform.
I love that.
Like,
don't blame us. Even Terry Gilliam didn't notice.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, they are pointing the finger at everyone else at this point. And then here's their note to kind of put your fears at rest. We're continuing to review our workflow processes to prevent these issues from happening in the future. Please hold on to your copy, and we will follow up with further information as soon as possible. Sorry for the inconvenience. We look forward to resolving this for you soon, Team Arrow. So they're putting in there, like, we're looking at our workflow process. This isn't what we want to keep happening. This is like the 9th time we talked about this. It's crazy. I don't know. Kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does.
So the next one, hold on one second. Yeah. So yeah, that kind of sucks for anybody that had purchased that. Hang on to it. There's nothing about the disc replacement yet. We'll see what they come out with. I'm sure there'll be more information about it. But again, it's the producer's fault. It's the facility's fault. Okay, the filmmaker. Fuck you, Terry.
I blame Joe Biden.
Thanks a lot, Brandon. So the next little sort of snafu that kind of came up that I also thought was interesting. This was actually pointed out to us by a loyal subscriber of ours that, Russ has actually met in person. But we do appreciate, people sending us little notes like this from time to time again. But this was very interesting. And the reason we're bringing it up, not only because she mentioned this to us, but also the studio has since responded, and this has actually become like an issue. So I thought we could bring this up. And that is the Arrow release of The Sacred Spirit. So when they announced this was coming out and they showed their cover art, I guess a lot of people jumped on this, including some of you out there, saying like, "Hey, this looks a lot like World on a Wire that Criterion put out," and it is very, very close. I mean, you're talking not only the same shapes that are on there, but the same color palette nearly. Like, it really, other than it's saying A Sacred Spirit in that classic Arrow color bar thing at the bottom, it basically looks like the same damn cover.
It was funny when Bet's app, BET's app, I'm not sure how to pronounce
her screen name,
your YouTube screen name. It was through text messaging, and I thought, I saw the caption first. I saw the text first saying, "Hey, look what this happened." I'm like, it can't be that bad. And then she sent me the screenshot of this. I was like, wow, that is...
It's bad.
Uncanny.
It is really bad. So then the person from, I guess this guy's name is Fran, or maybe it's a lady, I'm not sure, but someone from Arrow Films Video reached out and just basically said, "I'm mortified. I wasn't really across this release very much, but it's no excuse. It's my watch. I'm going to push to have this reversed." So there hasn't been any...
Did you read the follow-up tweet to that, though? Mm-mm. Fran followed this up and said, "I'm actually shocked. Usually our issues only revolve around replacement discs and not artwork. This is new for us. We're on top of it. I blame the director, the audience, the world."
Criterion.
But
yeah, like, it's true. That was a pretty shitty follow-up tweet that they said, but
I blame Terry Gilliam. Fuck it, I blame Johnny Depp for this too. I don't know. I'm sure his toxic ass had something to do with this.
Had to have something to do with it. So there hasn't. I don't think that they've shown new art for this yet. But what one person on this tweet chain actually shared, which I thought was kind of interesting to just at least think about, was this was their follow-up, where they showed 3 other posters, and they're like, and this isn't DVD releases, but 3 other posters that are like, it's really no different from this. And there's 3 different ones, one for Rosemary's Baby, one for Mother, and one for Neon Genesis Evangelion. But I mean, they are very similar, especially the Rosemary's Baby and Mother one. And I don't know if there was outcry or not, but I guess this person's point is a lot of this stuff happens a lot, or whether you're taking inspiration or you're just blatantly ripping off, who knows? But is it possible this could have just been dumb luck? I don't know.
I'm sure it was.
It seems pretty close to, I mean, maybe this like ellipses or whatever you call this,
Venn diagram.
Yeah, if I learned anything from 8th grade math, a Venn diagram. Yeah, I get. Is that a common thing that people use in art? Is it just like a thing? Like, I don't know, but it's definitely uncanny for sure. So,
good job, Fran.
Great job, Franny. And then lastly, on the delay front, and I'm not even going to be mad about this one. I'm going to be mad that there's a delay, but I'm not mad at the company whatsoever, and that is Second Sight, always doing a great job. Love them. And unfortunately, the Drive 4K collector's edition set that they were putting out is being pushed back by 1 week to June 6th. And they sent a message out and they said, "Dear customer, unfortunately, due to a delay in receiving the check disc, we had to move the release date back by 1 week to allow plenty of time for thorough QCing. Many apologies for this inconvenience. Second Sight Films." Classy. So they didn't get their disc that they used to kind of review the whole thing in time, so they have to get it so they can review it thoroughly. You hear what they're saying? Thoroughly. Thoroughly. You hear that, Arrow?
They took accountability.
They did.
They didn't blame Ryan Gosling.
They did not.
They should have, but they're
Yes.
like, we're delaying this a week so we can add more of the guy who sings like this.
Yeah, I don't know.
More tracks featuring songs.
I need a dramatic pause there. But yeah, so
And
for
then
anybody...
Albert Brooks pops in, he does a freestyle verse. He lays a track.
I don't know who else. Did you? You're on fire today, Russ. Did you pick this up, Russ?
Drive?
Are you gonna have this delayed by 1 week? I don't know who else.
Drive or
Who
the
out there?
Sacred Spirit?
The Sacred Spirit. No,
Nah.
Drive with Mark Dacascos. That came out, I think, from, was that Vinegar Syndrome? That was funny.
I'd pick that up before the Ryan Gosling.
Mark
and I don't
Dacascos.
hate Drive. I just don't like it enough to spend that much money.
Well, I'll tell you this, fans.
It's God, it's a beautiful set though.
It's a
Second
great set.
Sight did an amazing job. A 1 week delay is nothing to be upset about.
Not at all. Especially
they're handling their issues in house, unlike Zavi.
no. Yeah, they're going to let you handle their issues. They're going to let you hold on to discs and mail stuff back.
That same thing, exactly. If that same thing happened with Zavi, they wouldn't have said anything. They would have just shipped it out and been like, "Hey guys, you're gonna have to mail it back in a bubble envelope. Snap the CD in half. Stand on 1 foot while you walk to the post office.
Hold a newspaper up with the date on it so we know."
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, they actually said that.
Did they?
Yeah, it was like timestamp it.
Timestamp it? Yes, timestamp it.
It was Criterion did that with Citizen Kane.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember,
It was like a
some
timestamp
weird
thing.
like Jesus Christ, what kind of secondhand market is there?
I'm
for,
the customer.
for Citizen
Me.
Kane. You're gonna sell these broken discs. I don't know.
Well, for any fans out there,
Shenanigans.
it is shenanigans. But I will say, just as a follow up to this story, because we did cover this, and you remember what I said, Russ, that this was nearing $100 by the time I had to get it shipped, and I was like, absolutely not. Well, I can tell you, people, at this point, I don't know if it's sold out everywhere because it was sold out on Diabolic after a certain amount of time. It was up on deep discount, available, and you're talking at this point roughly $65 free shipping is what I saw.
That's a good price. And
It's an excellent price.
And if any of you have never purchased from Second Sight before, you will not be disappointed. That price is good for the quality of packaging and transfer and everything you ever want. They do excellent work.
Absolutely.
That's a really good price for what they do, honestly.
It's an amazing price, especially by the time you're getting free shipping and everything else. Like, I don't know if, I'm assuming it's probably sold out on their website too, but Deep Discount did have it available for that price. I will not say if I got it or not. I did get it. I did. I got it, Russ. I ended up getting it.
I assumed you would.
I know.
you
Well,
were a
not at
fan
that
of the
price, but
movie.
as soon as I saw, it was like $65. Like, yeah.
How much did you
That's
end
it.
up paying for the guest?
I mean, mainly I wanted to get it for the sake of this channel and sharing it, and maybe some people won't have gotten it, and we can bring it here and open it up and really see this thing in person and stuff. But and of course I'll always watch the movie. But the guest was similar, but I bought that through Second Sight and had to pay their shipping. So it was maybe it might even been like about 70 by the time shipping was in play. So, but yeah, great company, awesome release, delayed by a week, no worries at all. All right, so let's get into some Blu News, Russ, shall we?
We shall.
All right. Russ, have you ever seen a movie called Edge of Tomorrow?
Is it like that Live, Die, Repeat movie?
It is exactly that same
I've
movie.
seen neither of them. But
Oh, I'm so glad you said that because that is a really funny little anecdote about this movie. But anyway, so coming out July 5th on 4K Ultra HD from Warner Brothers in a Best Buy exclusive Steelbook is Edge of Tomorrow. This movie was already released in 4K, but just digitally. So you could have probably streamed this on like iTunes or somewhere, but we're finally getting a home release, which is pretty cool. The fact that it's in the Steelbook, I like because it fits this movie. You know, there's like a mech element to it. It's metal. It's awesome. So I think that works. There really isn't too much news on the transfer at this moment or the features, but the previous Blu had, you know, just a couple of small things, nothing really big. There was like a 45-minute sort of behind the scenes look at stuff, but for the most part, it was fairly low key. However, here on the Bluray.com post for this, it does state, like under the specs, it does state that it's going to have Atmos, but it also says upscaled 4K. So I can't imagine that this is going to be any kind of new like scan or upgraded to the picture necessarily from before, just upscaled a bit. So that kind of sticks in my craw a little bit.
I wouldn't pick this up then if I was a fan.
You just keep your Blu? Maybe. Well,
I wouldn't own the Blu either.
Okay.
No, I can't really talk trash. I've never seen it.
You haven't?
But no, I don't like that. Like if you're going to put it out on physical media, do a whole nice steelbook, all that, like do a transfer.
Do
Don't
something
just
for
upscale
what you already had
from
or something.
a 2K or
right.
something. It's ridiculous.
Right. I agree. And I'm going to try my best, Russ, to sell you on this movie. I'm going to try my best because I'm a big fan of this movie.
Well, let me say this. I don't have any knee-jerk reaction hatred towards it.
Right.
I like Tom Cruise for the most part.
Big Tom Cruise fan.
But for me, this is where Tom Cruise starts to get depressing. This juncture of his career, yes, because now this is where he's transitioning from actor to full-blown stuntman, and it makes me sad watching Tom Cruise do all these stunts and all these. He might as well just get like a YouTube channel and do pranks on the street. Like that's the only thing that sells his movies anymore. It's not his acting.
It's just, hey, holy crap, you're going to watch Tom Cruise.
It's not his name power. Yeah. We don't live in an era anymore where actors and actresses are draws to the box office. I mean, nothing is a draw to the box office. And so Tom Cruise keeps doing more and more outlandish stunts just for the Mission Impossible trailers to get people in, and it depresses me.
I mean, he looks good in the Top Gun trailer, and I mean, you're right.
Top Gun is terrible.
I've never
who's
seen the
asking
original
for
Top
Gun?
I know. We're going to go on a whole Top Gun tangent if I start here, so we'll have to say that. But let me try my best to try to sell you and the people out there on this movie if you haven't seen it. And there's a good chance that you haven't, because even though dare I say that I enjoy sci-fi more than you.
You do.
Okay, so I am a sci-fi fan, and I am one of my favorite tropes or things that have to do with sci-fi is time travel. And this isn't necessarily time travel, but I like when there's things like that you can play around with it. This is essentially Groundhog's Day, but I feel like an underseen gem, not only within Tom Cruise's career, but an underseen sci-fi action movie that is done superbly well, has great heart, has great ideas, is super fast paced, is Tom Cruise awesome in it, and he's playing against type, which I think is also interesting, which you don't expect when you watch this trailer. You just see Tom Cruise like slaying aliens in a mech suit. You're like, what the fuck? But he's actually like a coward in this movie. He starts off a literal coward where the world is under siege from aliens. That sounds like every other movie known to man. Until the world army gets together and they design these mech suits that have any chance of defeating the aliens, they're kind of getting their asses handed to them until they design this technology. So they're designing this technology. They designed it. They're out there fighting. And Tom Cruise is like a public relations kind of like twerp who is like trying to sell stuff to the public and trying to like sell technology and whatever. And they're basically like, we want to put you in the draft. Like we need people to get out there and get in this stuff and fight. He's like, oh no, whatever. He gets like sucked into it. They like, I forget if they don't kidnap him, but they knock him out. Something happens to where he's literally put into the front lines of the battle. Like he's in the helicopter that takes him there. And he's a pussy. Like he's like, get me out of here. Like he doesn't want to fight. He ends up dying immediately. But then he wakes back up on the army base prior to him going there. And it's like, well, was that a dream? And kind of like Groundhog's Day, he's trying to like figure out like, okay, this is obviously what's happening to me. It's repeating over and over. He finally meets Emily Blunt, who is a badass. Like that's like kind of like the juxtaposition here where she is like her face and images on all these posters. She's the one that's like the savior of the, all these different battles. People like they have like nicknames for her and stuff. So he meets her and they kind of like try to figure out together what's going on. That's like the gist of it. But I'm telling you, it's such a blast of a movie that regardless of what you see from the trailer, and it's like this Groundhog's Day, conceit where he's just like reliving the same day over and over. It's just a really refreshing sci-fi movie. I don't know. It's I like that they cast him as this kind of like cowardly figure who by like the middle, he starts to get into his Tom Cruise ways where, okay, now I'm like, I've learned the ways and I'm like, cool again. But initially just being that I thought was kind of interesting, and that they have her as being the lead and being excellent in it also, which I didn't really know her from much. Bill Paxton's in it, one of his last movies. He kind of showed up out of nowhere, doing his like normal thing. I guess, and I also think you mentioned like this was the start where he kind of became like stuntman.
Yeah, and I'm not blaming this movie for that. I'm talking more about Tom Cruise's career.
Yeah.
And for me, it was around this time period where it became depressing.
Yeah.
For me.
He also, this movie was something that he had a lot of, he did all his own stunts and whatever. There's not too much stunts to be done, but he's doing everything obviously. But he also paired up with that Christopher McQuarrie guy for this. Like he wrote the screenplay for this.
Cruise got his hooks into him early on, and like I feel like what didn't he do? Jack Reacher, this I think he even got in the Mission Impossible universe.
Oh yeah, he's in the Mission Impossible universe with them. Yeah. So this was kind of, I don't think that was their first pairing. They might have paired, I think they paired for Ghost Protocol or something prior to this. But yeah, so he's got a solid screenwriter, because that guy's a solid screenwriter. The director, Doug Liman,
Swingers, baby.
I was going to say, like, this guy, Doug Liman, who is completely known for so many random things prior to this, like Swingers, Go. The Bourne Identity, I think, was maybe something that broke him out maybe more into mainstream. Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. And then this movie, and then there's
he also did that movie with Hayden Christensen and Samuel L. Jackson that I never...
Isn't Jumper?
That?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, but no. But... So he's kind of dabbled in obviously some sci-fi stuff and some action stuff, but Swingers, dude, like it was so crazy to me. I didn't realize he did Swingers. I'm like looking at this movie.
I always knew his name because I adored Swingers when I was younger and it came out. And honestly, I think Go's pretty good too. After that,
Go's pretty good.
It's nice to hear you say all these positive things about Edge of Tomorrow, because to me, it came across not only as the stuntman aspect, but it came across to me as District 9 blew up out of nowhere. Let's take District 9. Let's take Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's get Tom Cruise. It just felt very calculated. But if it's an actually good movie, like if something's going to be calculated, no idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done. So even if you're going to play off these same tropes, if you're doing it in either a fresh way, a different take, or just endlessly entertaining, dude, which sounds like that's what you're saying. It's a very fun movie to watch. Then it's enjoyable to sit through those tropes.
And I think that's what is, I don't know if you say refreshing, but the fact that it is this kind of repeating thing that goes on and on. By the time that it starts almost immediately, but the way that they're editing it, and it's like over and over as he's he's instantly dying, like because they can't defeat these aliens or whatever, so it's just immediately he's dying over and over and over and over. So they're constantly editing it, and it's just so fast paced. It's so fun, and I think you could really write it off just by looking at the trailer alone and just say like, oh, this is just another one of those things. I feel like I was so surprised by this movie, how much I was entertained by it, how much I liked this, like I said, this version of Tom Cruise, which you don't see. He's like the badass flying a jet and, flying off into space and hanging on to like the side of another jet in Mission Impossible.
He was kind of a scumbag in War of the Worlds. And that movie sucked.
Was he a scumbag in that?
Yeah, he was like a deadbeat dad. Yeah. He didn't care. Yeah, because that was like his little character development throughout the whole film, I guess, is to become a better person.
Yeah, it was. I hated the Tim Robbins part of that movie. It was so weird.
Dude, I gave up on the movie way before Tim Robbins showed up.
Tim Robbins was in this?
I mean, no, when he showed up, it's like, fine, whatever. Just it's weird, but okay. It's not going to redeem or ruin this shit that I've endured so far.
Yeah. I don't know, but so the one of the other things that I do respect again, like about this movie, the production value again, it looks super solid. When you look at those mech suits, one thing that I read about it is those mech suits actually weighed anywhere between 80 to 100 pounds, and they had to learn how to run and act because it's full fledged, like they're in these things like half the movie.
That's crazy because Emily Blunt only weighs 80 to 100 pounds.
Exactly, dude. It's like, that's nuts. And what's funny is in between takes, they had these giant metal like cages like that were like above them, or like a rig or something, not a cage, but like a metal rig. And they had these hooks that would come down and hook onto the actors and pull them up so that they could just rest and not have the suit like just, like completely like, down. Yeah, which is pretty wild. So I don't know. It's pretty cool. So just a little bit about the fate of this movie, though, because that is the one thing that you mentioned about the title, and that's also one of the reasons why I feel like this movie has fallen into obscurity, and I want to try to bring it back, and hopefully there have been some people out there that have seen it. If not, give it a chance and tell me what you think. But even though this movie was very popular with critics, because it had great direction, great action, great editing, like the whole thing it just worked. It didn't do well financially at all. Like,
I thought it was a modest hit. It bombed.
You wouldn't call it a bomb, but it went up against X-Men: Days of a Future Past and Maleficent and some other like really big like tentpole films, and this just kind of like fell under the radar, and they didn't really know. I know. See how interested Russ is. He's like, boring. That's why this movie failed. But listen,
no, I have a different theory on why it failed. I want to hear yours.
So I don't know exactly why it failed, other than maybe something to what you said, that like Tom Cruise's, maybe his bankability was starting to kind of like fade a little bit, and people were like, I don't want to see another something like this with him in it. Is that more in your thought process?
Yes, but not just Tom Cruise specifically. The whole idea of movie stars selling films, I think, was already dead. But so for instance, if Tom Cruise starred in The Firm in 1993, it's not like a John Grisham movie is going to set the world on fire, but Tom Cruise put asses in seats at that year. He's not doing that in this year. Will Smith's not doing, Chris Rock stuff aside, Will Smith's not doing that anymore.
Marvel is.
Exactly.
Batman. Yeah, honestly, I'm with you.
Hey, the last Leonardo DiCaprio movie that came out debuted on Netflix. I'll just say that.
Sorry, Leo.
So the whole idea of movie stars carrying these kinds of films, it just doesn't, it was already gone. It was already gone.
Yeah.
But I like what you said, and I think I think it was mismarketed.
Yeah, and
it looked like Independence Day to me, and you're telling me all this stuff that it's not.
Yeah.
So then you have, it's advertised as Independence Day, but it's a critical darling as well. It's like, trust me, somebody like me, or anybody who's going to pay attention to critics and read reviews, they're not interested in this trailer right off the bat.
Right.
So they're turned off by that. It's like they X'd both sides out. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like the critics made it too avant-garde for the casual fans, but the trailer just looked so casual that other people aren't going to check it out, and they're not going to believe it's intelligent.
They're not. And being that it is sci-fi, time travel stuff, there's obviously things that you can poke holes into as far as plot and whatever else, but it is, when you said intelligent, I'm trying to think like, is it intelligent? It's just a movie, like you said. I think when you saw the trailer,
made. I don't
absolutely.
I haven't seen it. I didn't literally mean like the plot is intelligent.
Right.
I just I meant a well-made film.
The thought behind it, everything that they were doing was intelligent. I agree. Yeah. I think all the forces that came together to make this movie, they made an excellent movie, and it just wasn't. It just didn't come across. And like you said, mismarketed. They continued to do that even when it came home to home release. So this movie
is that what happened? Because that's what I assume. It was mismarketed. Well, no, I know that's what happened. Oh, yeah. But I mean, like, it happened because it was so mismarketed. It was like, well, let's do a title that sounds more towards the audience we want to see. Yep. Live, die, repeat.
Let's change
that sounds like some shit I would watch.
Absolutely.
Edge of Tomorrow sounds generic as hell.
Yep. So it was Edge of Tomorrow, and the tagline was Live, Die, Repeat. So when they put it out on Blu-ray, at one point, they just named it Live, Die, Repeat. Like, that became the name. And in fact, this movie, which I also did not know, is based on a Japanese like comic, a manga or something called All You Need Is Kill. Yeah. And at one point, that title was on these movies, maybe overseas, I'm not sure. But I'm glad to see here they're kind of coming back to what this movie is actually called, Edge of Tomorrow, basically they've given up on trying to market it. It's just like, give this to the people that want it, I guess. We're just going to upscale the 4K, so F it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
I actually think both of those alternate titles are better than Edge of Tomorrow.
do you? All You Need Is Kill
Edge
and
of
Live to
Tomorrow
Repeat?
to me sounds like it sounds like a Bon Jovi title or something, dude.
What was the name of that movie with Chris Pratt that just came
Exactly.
up? What's the name of it?
Exactly.
What was it called?
Who knows? Exactly.
I forget.
What's the name of that movie? What's the name of that movie?
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow. I guarantee you there are people out there like, what's the name of that one with Tom Cruise where it looked like Elysium and blah, blah, blah. Edge of
Oblivion.
Tomorrow.
He was in a movie called Oblivion right before this, which was also very
Boring.
Yeah. The Tomorrow War. That's what it was called. Chris Pratt. The Chris Pratt Amazon movie. That was like a huge hit. It was on everyone's Amazon boxes. Remember that? Do you remember that? If you ordered anything in Amazon, bro, if you ordered anything from Amazon for the month that movie premiered, there was nothing but the Tomorrow War tape. Chris Pratt's face was on my box. I'm like, what is this crap? Because it was their movie. They put it out. It was streaming from them.
But same situation is here. I guarantee you when more people have conversations across the globe, they're saying, hey, that Chris Pratt Amazon movie.
Yeah,
they're not calling it. I forgot it. And you just told me it 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. So long story short, everyone, this is a worthwhile movie if you are a Tom Cruise fan, a sci-fi fan, an Emily Blunt fan, Groundhog's Day fan. Name any of those things, and you're definitely someone that would be interested in seeing this. Don't go off the trailer. If after watching this, if you are, you're like, let me go see the trailer and see. You'll get an idea, but I promise you won't be getting exactly what this movie is going to give you. It is super duper fun, and I can't highly recommend it enough. So it'll be out. Oh, and don't forget if you're a Bill Paxton fan also. It'll be out July 5th on 4K and a Steelbook, and I probably will be picking it up. I don't know what else to say. I do own this on Blu-ray already, but we'll see what the reviews maybe are. Maybe there'll be some side-by-side comparisons to see what they may have changed, but if it's just an upscale, maybe it won't be so great. But sticking with the sci-fi, action, horror, maybe, have you seen a movie called Pitch Black, Russ?
I saw this movie in the theater when I was 17, I want to say.
I did too, twice.
Well, I was insanely high and I fell asleep.
I was not either, and I watched it through to the end.
Dark in that movie theater.
That movie's dark.
I
Pitch
fell
black.
asleep.
The whole planet's dark. The whole movie.
I didn't like
the whole
what
movie.
I
It's
saw
nighttime
either. I didn't like what I saw. I had never seen Saving Private Ryan. This was my introduction to Vin Diesel.
Good old Vin.
This was before Fast and Furious, before he became a complete cartoon.
Before he became family?
Before he became family, yes. I can't judge it. I've heard good things over the years. As you alluded to earlier, sci-fi is your genre over mine.
You used the word intelligent for Edge of Tomorrow. This movie is not that. This movie is...
my eyes got wide. You mentioned intelligent, but we're talking about Pitch Black.
No, this movie is a B movie, basically. And if you go, how to watch something, if you go into this movie thinking this is a B movie and you're prepared to kind of just have fun with it in that sense. I mean, there are parts obviously you can laugh at, parts you can be, jump at and whatever else, but let me just dig in for a second, because this movie has already been released in 4K by Arrow. The fact that it was a decent little set, but it was only in a regular box. It was in one of their thicker cases, though. You know how sometimes the cases are just slightly thicker? Not like a hard slip case or nothing on it, but the case itself was just a little thicker. Inside there was a booklet for limited time. But I picked that one up, and there was a good amount of features on there. The picture was great. I watched it. I still enjoyed it. No problem. But this one's actually coming out in Germany in a really nice collector set that maybe Arrow is kind of already known for, but they just didn't do for this movie. So they're kind of putting out the traditional stuff with all the posters and so forth, which we'll cover in a second. But there really isn't any info on transfers or anything that I can see here, other than it's a huge set with all the trimmings and such. It also appears that the Turbine features are exclusive to this release, and very few of what came on Arrow are even here. So this is kind of a situation, if you're a Pitch Black fan.
It's a companion piece.
It's a companion piece. Now, as Turbine tends to do with these, there's two different covers, and they're both limited. One cover is 2,222, and one cover is 1,111. The cover B, which is the 1,111, is already sold out. And in my opinion, is maybe the better cover.
Which one is that?
So that one is this here. That's this cover. So you
That's
have just
a lot better. You can't see Vin Diesel's face.
you can't, and that you kind of can't see his face in the movie too much either. But
now that I know that, it's my favorite Vin Diesel performance.
so here, the cover A is like, it's like an illustrated version of Vin Diesel when he takes his glasses off, and this one's more of like Vin Diesel in the shadows. So I kind of like that one more, but it is sold out. No info on if this is going to be picked up by anyone else, like a Diabolic or somebody. Maybe it would be, or deep discount, but for now, some of these are, maybe there's like an allotment that they get. I don't know. But for now, one of these is already sold out. So let's just talk about this movie for a second before we talk about anything else. We talk about features or anything else. So from the writer of Critters 2.
I like Critters 2.
Warlock.
I mean, I can watch Warlock. I'm not a huge fan of Warlock.
The Fugitive.
Not a huge fan of The Fugitive.
Waterworld.
Never saw it.
G.I. Jane. Keep my
Tarnished.
wife's name out of your...
Tarnished. Erased.
It's been tarnished.
Erased from cinematic history now.
So while we talked about Edge of Tomorrow and I said that movie surprised me, I will say the same thing about this one, that this movie surprised me too. I wasn't expecting to like this movie as much as I did, but for different reasons. Because this movie, I expected to just be a piece of dog shit, which I guess you could argue that it is. But I guess just for some reason, I had fun with it because, ready for this? I had fun with Vin Diesel. I had fun with him. I liked him. I thought he was good. I thought it was good. I thought his character was cool. I liked that this movie was based around a villain being he's not even a hero, but he's the villain, and he's a villain through the whole movie, and he's out for himself clearly, and at the end he's out for himself. So while he maybe gets the best of the situation, he's still the villain at the end of it, which I think is also interesting. I don't know how often you see mainstream movies these days casting the lead guy as the villain the entire movie, and he doesn't have some turnaround. But I thought that was kind of cool. What from what you remember that you stayed awake for, what were your thoughts?
I take it back. I think his best performance was Groot.
That is a pretty good ass performance.
He knocked that one out of the park.
He had only been in Saving Private Ryan for 2 seconds and Boiler Room, which I never saw.
I never saw either of those movies.
And this was it after that.
Like I said,
I mean, this movie made him a star. Isn't that crazy? Like, this is the movie that put him on the map, which is why I'm saying I had fun with him. Most people did, and then he went on to be Family.
This movie made him a star.
This movie made
this movie
him,
was
this
a
movie,
hit.
This movie
I think
catapulted
this movie
him.
Catapulted. Okay.
Catapulted.
I think this movie set him up to be a star.
don't think
Fast and Furious made him a star.
Agreed. But that was like his next thing.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And boom, there he was. He got that opportunity because of this, and then there you go.
I mean, I know it sounds funny, my experience with watching it, so I can't judge it. I honestly can't. I just remember... I just remember being high in a dark movie theater and falling asleep because it was dark and quiet. So I technically, I guess you could say I've never seen it.
Would you be prepared to give it another chance?
No, not from what I remember. And not now that all I see is family.
Cole Hauser also in it.
Cole Hauser's...
And?
He's legit.
He's legit. And Keith David. Also in it, reliable.
All right,
always reliable.
Now I'll
you don't remember he's in it?
No, I must have slept through the entire.
He's in it.
Is he in it in the first 15 minutes?
He's one of the people that are on like this ship that crashed on this planet. He's like one of the people on it. Vin Diesel's the prisoner. It's like a transport ship.
It's like Alien 3.
Kind of. And then, obviously they're on the planet that goes dark almost immediately. And then they realize that all the aliens that live there come out at nighttime. And then that's when they also realize that Vin Diesel is the only one that can see at night because his eyes have been like, that's why he wears these glasses. He takes them off and he can see at nighttime. So the whole movie's at night and that's why he fell asleep.
One reason why I wouldn't check this out, though, and I'm just being honest, if people love this movie, I'm not shitting on it because what I'm going to say isn't directed specifically at this movie, although it includes this movie. I am not a fan of late 90s, early 2000s CGI in sci-fi movies and horror movies. I don't blame them. That's where the technology was. Obviously, it's gotten much better. It just looks like a video game cut screen to me. Every time I watch films from this era, like Resident Evil,
I
say every time, like I put this stuff on.
I see that.
They look like PlayStation 2 cut scenes. I forgot about like the aliens in this movie until you said it, and then I remembered the imagery of it, and it just looks bad to me.
It didn't, and I remember I didn't have that same thought, but now that you said that, I know exactly what you mean. In a lot of movies like that came out of this time.
It's this era.
It's the era.
Yeah.
When I rewatched this movie at home on 4K with the era release that I got, I'm going into the mindset like this movie came out in 2000. It's obviously not going to look the best, but I wasn't taken out of it. But again, I like this movie.
And that's what I mean. It's a hard criticism to throw at it because it wasn't like just Pitch Black did this. It was there were good movies from that era where I watched them. I'm like, God, I hate this CGI.
Such as Pitch Black?
Yes. And like I said, I've talked enough shit for somebody who really hasn't seen it.
Who fell asleep 15 minutes in, didn't even know Keith David was in it.
I vaguely remember.
He's like a main character.
You know what's sad? I vaguely remember Cole Hauser.
Yeah, he's the asshole in it. He's like the asshole security guard or prisoner guard that's like kind of beating him the whole time.
But Keith David is way more iconic in my mind than Cole, but I remember him and not Keith David.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's crazy. I haven't seen anything past this, but it's crazy to me that this movie spawned like so much stuff.
Well,
movies, animated things, video games.
Do you know why
everywhere.
though? Do you know why all that happened?
Tell me.
Do you think the studio wanted that shit? That was Vin Diesel holding them rants.
You think so?
Yes.
He was like, keep making this character.
He was holding them hostage. Yes. He was like, I will not do more Fast and Furious unless you let me keep doing this Riddick shit.
My passion project.
Vin Diesel is a big Dungeons and Dragons geek.
Is he?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
He's a big sci-fi dude. They did something on Dungeons and Dragons. He wrote a foreword to like a book about Dungeons and Dragons. It was something like that.
Wow.
He is a big geek and he loves this shit. So literally, when he was negotiating to come back for Fast and Furious and all that, he was like, "Nah, we got to do Pitch Black 2, Chronicles of Riddick or whatever."
Family.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Like I said, I never saw anything.
So he's very
past that.
authentic. Maybe your sci-fi love and his sci-fi love, you had like an unspoken subconscious connection while you were reviewing this film. He's your people.
Well, here's the
Matt
thing.
Diesel.
It's like he's in the lexicon or whatever you want to call it now. Like he's part of the culture. Like you said, you see him, you see family, you see Fast and the Furious. When I saw this movie, he wasn't anyone yet, right? Yeah. And it's like, he was kind of fascinating. Like, he was kind of like, who is this guy with this voice? He's got this very, like a guttural, like, voice. And in the movie theater, it's like, Pitch Black. It's just his voice talking. You're like, who is this guy? Like, where did this guy come from? And now he is who he is. But I think he was just captivating.
I was like, who is this guy that keeps waking me up? Who is this gravelly voiced asshole who won't let me sleep?
Dude, I'm watching this movie the whole time and I'm like, I think my son could probably enjoy this movie. There's a lot of like, not too much alien violence. There's a couple cool alien violent moments where Vin Diesel like takes on an alien hand-to-hand combat. There's one where he like, says a couple of like gnarly F-bombs, but overall it's entertaining. So let's talk about the features for a second. So aside from the separate art you can choose from, and you're going to obviously have to go to eBay maybe for this one if you want it, they're coming with a ton of stuff. Other than the box art being different, the inner poster and all that kind of stuff is the same. But I will say, when you look at the ultra limited one that has this Vin Diesel, silhouette on the cover, the inside box has a different image than this other one that has a different inside box, which I like. I feel like I like the limited A one's inside box more, but I like the limited B's outside box more. So I don't know. Regardless, most of the stuff inside is the same. Now, the only caveat to this is that this only comes with the director's cut. So the Arrow one gave you director's and theatrical if you so chose to watch. And apparently the director's cut kind of makes Cole Hauser's character maybe more sympathetic because he's just like a dick the whole time. And I'm kind of on that same, like, I'm not interested in that. I kind of like it when he's a dick. I don't think I need to see him sympathetic. But for those of you that want to see, the director's cut or like that version, you've got that and that alone. It's got Dolby Vision. It's got Atmos sound, which Arrow did not have, by the way. Nearly 2.5 hours of exclusive new interviews with the directors, the actors, FX people, writer, cinematographer, all kinds of interviews. TV prequel, animated film, a dozen of small featurettes, including a making of. You've got a Making of Riddick universe book, lobby card set, poster, replica, ID, uniform patch, and so a bunch of stuff, which all sounds great. That book sounds really nice. I don't think it's like a chintzy one. I think it might be like a hardbound one. However, it's going to be in German. So, I mean, you're going to lose out on anything being able to read that. To conclude, I do feel like this movie is solid. If you liked it, I'm sure you'll be interested in seeing this or picking it up. If not, no big deal. But if I didn't own the Arrow version, I might have just gone for this one like outright. I don't think I'm going to pick this up. I'm satisfied with the Arrow one that I do have. It kind of makes me wonder. We've talked a lot about it in our physical media video, like some random double dips that Arrow has done and how some of them have kind of been a little like kind of, a sticking point. This is one that was only released like in a regular way that they could say, hey, we're going to put this back out again in the Zavvi way and just give you some reproduction, some reproduced cards and booklets and whatever else. It could be done. I don't know. The extras alone are worthy of a double dip. If you are a fan, even though I'm on the fence, get it while supplies last.
Well, I'll say this about that box, the cover that is currently available. If I'm going to buy a movie with Keith David that includes a man putting sunglasses on the cover, it's going to be They Live.
That is true. I don't really like that art so much.
Nah, I don't either.
I mean, I think this set is incredible, but that art, I don't know. For me, that's just not it. I like this other one. I like this other one a lot more. So again, that is out. That is out May 13th, so it's out this Friday, and one of the pre-orders is already sold out. So get it while supplies last. Check out the other ones out on eBay. But another really high-profile release that's coming out, Russ, is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Are you a big Marvel Universe fan? Have you seen many of these Marvel? Have you seen any of the Doctor Strange films?
Honest answer, no. Internet answer, yes, I love them all.
Did you know, which I didn't know until very recently, that Sam Raimi directed it? The
one that just came out.
This newest Doctor Strange.
I knew he did. And
did you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And it kind of made me not think like, oh, it must be good. But just wow, they roped him back into doing more Marvel stuff.
Roped him back in.
I mean,
what was he doing?
True. Maybe he didn't need to be roped in, but it was like they tapped him. Like, interesting that they tapped him again. I don't know.
No, it's depressing to me. Like, Sam Raimi is a great legendary director.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him do part 44 in the Marvel franchise.
Yeah, it's true.
Dude, Sam Raimi made one of the best comic book films of all time. Now he's doing this. It's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. And I think,
and what's the last movie Raimi did? Was it that Wizard of Oz bullshit?
Let me look.
I know he hasn't done anything in a long time. And it's sad.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
For me.
I recently did watch Spider-Man 2, and I never really...
It's great.
It is great. And what I never really noticed, and maybe I should have, being a movie person and being a Sam Raimi fan, is that there are so many scenes in that movie that remind me of Evil Dead.
Yeah,
the way that it was shot.
When they're scratching the nails, pulling out when Dr. Octagon.
Part, like all, I'm like, dude,
that's the close-up of the chainsaw when he looks at it.
That is literally Evil Dead. And I said that to
you
my son.
You didn't realize that the first time you saw it?
I don't know why.
The first time I saw Spider-Man 2, I was like, oh shit, in that part.
Yeah.
In my head, I heard groovy or like chainsaw.
I know.
Because he does even like the quick look and then it goes and zooms in on the chainsaw.
All the zooming in, fast stuff, like all that stuff. It's like they literally just like let him have a little fun there and be his like true self. Because I think...
Because it was part 2 and 1 was such a success. 2, he had more freedom.
Yeah. Dude, it was so cool. And I said that to my son. I was like, after we watched it, I was like, dude, this is one of my favorite movies is Evil Dead 2. This is Evil Dead 2 what we're watching here. Wait till we watch the real thing that this is basically being like based on. But so let me see what he did. Yeah, Oz Great and Powerful, 2013.
That's what I'm telling
He
you.
came out of retirement for this shit. He came out of retirement for the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which I will say, knowing nothing about the Marvel Universe, what I gather is that Doctor Strange, the solo movie, I don't know about the character, and is one of the more solid entries, whereas this one, maybe he was like, okay, again, I'm coming in for a part 2. I'm going to do something great with it. I have no idea if this movie is good or not. I have no idea if he did a great job in it. But were you also aware that this wasn't the first time that Doctor Strange had ever been out? Because this was also news to me.
No.
Apparently, Doctor Strange, they attempted to get it onto television back in 1978.
Well, they did that with a lot. Flash, or not, the Captain America from 1990.
Yes.
That Fantastic Four that failed. Back then, they were doing a lot of that. I mean, dude, you had the Wonder Woman series.
Yeah, you're right.
It was all like aimed at TV.
Shazam, Amazing Spider-Man had its own show.
Spider-Man, yeah.
And Stan Lee was involved back then. like in Doctor Strange, and he actually had a big hand in it. He was really proud of it, and he was kind of sad that it didn't really do so well. And he kind of blamed it more so on
DC.
No, yeah, maybe. No, I guess it. So, all right. So let me backtrack for a second. So this movie, this is a movie. It's a television movie that went on to TV and was supposed to be the kickoff of this series, and it bombed, and they were like, "We're not picking this up for a series." Stan Lee's kind of quote was like, it kind of went up against Roots on television at the exact same time, and I guess that was more of a sensation than what Doctor Strange was having to offer, which when you see this thing, maybe you'll see why. But dude, I was blown away that this was even a thing. And you're right, I kind of forgot about some of those other live action ones.
Well, that was kind of, TV movies meant something more in the 70s
right. Yeah,
than they did
that was a big deal.
in our lifetime.
That was a big deal.
So it wasn't, it sounds kind of off-putting to us. It sounds like, wow, that's shit. It didn't even make it into theaters.
Yeah.
But there were a lot. I mean, Trilogy of Terror was a TV movie. That's a classic.
Disney had a
film.
Sunday television movie every week.
Yeah, you love that Flight of the Navigator. Wasn't that a TV? I don't think that was theatrically released.
How dare you?
Thank you.
I don't know if it was or not. How dare you? I love that movie. It might have been a Sunday movie.
Actually,
okay, there you go. But this is actually coming out from Shout Factory, who had previously put this out on DVD as well. And they put this out on DVD in 2016 with the same art that you're getting here for the Blu-ray. It's like identical, except now in the Blu-ray art, the actors are on the cover. And when they put it out in 2016, they're clearly trying to give you that, like, this is new Doctor Strange look. Like he kind of does wear a cape and he's got all the same kind of look, but this doesn't look so much like a television movie from 1978. This looks like the newest thing.
That looks like Benedict Cumberbatch.
It does. And if you want to see, which I love, if you want to see what the cover maybe should have been, if you look at what they had here, let me see if I can bring this over. So here it is. This is the Doctor Strange sort of look from 1978. And he's kind of sporting a bit of a package here.
Package. Look at the chains, man.
Dude.
He's like Slick Rick.
He kind of doesn't even look like a white man. Like, I don't even know, like, what, like, is he, is he from, where is he from here? Like, he just looks like European or something. Like, I don't even know.
All right, let's cut the bullshit. This looks like a porn.
Like, dude, for
this
real.
looks like 70s porn.
Dude, it looks like a porno. Like, he's walking in, he's got his, what do you call it, like a sash on.
He's Doctor Strange starring Dirk Diggler.
He's got his package out, like this, dude, he is strange. Like, this is strange.
This shit is strange.
Dude, this shit is strange. This is stranger than strange. This is stranger than the new Strange.
Though, Benedict Cumberbatch did take all of his inspiration for his portrayal from this.
I mean, maybe he did. I mean, his package.
Let's just make up random facts.
Is his package shown? Is Benedict Cumberbatch's package shown in the new one?
Funny you brought this up, Matt. Actually, when Sam Raimi agreed to do the he did it solely based on the love for the television film Doctor Strange from 1970, whatever.
I can see that he may have, and he said, I'm not going to do it unless there's going to be package.
He's like, give me Jessica Walter or I'm not doing it.
Or I'm not doing it. Now, this was also released on VHS in the 80s and then Shout, like I said, in 2016 to time with
and
Marvel.
That's where it stayed.
And Russ, would you believe that this stars Peter Hooton of Night Killer fame?
Oh, that's my man.
That's why I said it. Did you know who Peter Hooton is? Do you recognize that man with the package?
Is he the main actor, like the main dude in Night Killer?
Dude, I don't know. You tell me. I've never seen it, but
the guy who's like in his underwear in the one part.
He was in his underwear on the Doctor Strange cover,
where she steals his clothes. Like you think he's the bad guy the whole movie in Night Killer, but he's the good guy in the end. He's actually
you're talking to me like I've seen it. I don't know.
I know. I
what
just
scenes
spoiled
he's in.
the whole that guy right there. See, look, that was the first thing that came up when we did an image search. I told you, him in his underwear.
Yep. So he was Doctor Strange, the guy from Night Killer. So are you interested now?
Hell yeah. I'm dipping back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe now that you told me Mr. Noonan's involved.
He is. And Jessica Walter, whose name didn't immediately come to me, even though it sounded maybe slightly familiar, she is the grandma on Arrested Development, like Lucille Bluth, and the voice of the mom on Archer. She's like really big.
Passed away
She
recently.
did. She's a great comedic actress.
Yeah.
I guess she's the villain in this movie. She's some sorceress from the past that he's got to face.
I'm not joking. I'm more excited about this than any Marvel film from the past 10 years.
You'd be surprised at the people that are saying the exact same thing in the comments everywhere. They're like, I like this movie more. And I mean, obviously this movie is not for the kids.
I'm getting
This is
Masters
for
of the
us.
Universe vibes,
It could be. I don't know. It didn't.
which I love.
So here's what the critics said about this movie. This is why maybe it didn't take
Critics
off.
be damned. Noonan is critic proof.
Back in the day where television movies were frequent and critics actually did matter and decided probably for most people if you were going to get picked up on a television show or not, this is what they had to say. Not much happens over the course of 90 minutes. Boring. 2/3 of the film seems like a medical procedural. No sense of urgency. He's instantly good at everything without any training, only fails once before miraculously being awesome immediately afterwards, and he's generally an idiot.
He's Peter Noonan.
Hooten.
Or Peter Hooten.
He's Peter Hooten.
Look, when you have a god in the flesh, you don't expect him to act anything other than godly.
I mean, look at him, dude. It's like, it's crazy. And so they really go hard, it seems like, on the whole backstory of him being some, like, in the medical profession, he's a psychiatrist or something before he gets roped into all this, mystical universe. It sounds like they're trying to play this very seriously and not, like, fantastically much.
Which is going to make it even funnier. I'm on board.
Yes. So here's what I gather, and here's why I say people are dying to get their hands on this, right? Only initially, this is out, by the way. This has been released. Sorry, this came out April 26th.
That's how important this is. We're covering it. It's
it
already
now.
been released.
It's been released. It has. It's very important. It kind of was announced after we recorded last time. So I was like, we got to get this in there. But check this out, dude. Only 1,500 copies were produced. Sold out immediately. Shout, as a result, decides to print 500 more. And once they're gone, that's it. Now, those 500 more have not been put back out yet to, for the market to be sold. That's why it says notify me here. But people are like, they got to get it. All these people are like, oh man, I missed it. I'm going to have to get this on eBay. Like, people are like, I don't give a shit what I have to pay. Some people were a little perturbed that this is what it costs. Like right now, after shipping, it's like $35. Mm-hmm. All it's getting is a new HD transfer, and which apparently for the people that do have this,
but it's got Paul Noonan
Hooten. Apparently the transfer is amazing. According to people that own this, they're like, this is such an upgrade. I'm so satisfied. I'm so happy. And there's also a new audio commentary, but
they're
not
just
from
captivated by
Peter
Hoover's looks.
They might be, dude. He's a fancy, fine-looking dude. But yeah, some like film historian is doing an audio commentary, so nobody from the movie. I mean, obviously, it's not for anyone or for for everyone. A little slip. This isn't for anyone. Obviously, this isn't for everyone, but I think what would be funny is if, like, because this movie's for us, again, this isn't for the kids, but if you bought this and, like, as a prank, like, played this for your family or gave this to your kid to watch, like, the new Doctor Strange, and then they put this on, to see their faces, I think that would be great. So, yeah, like I said, people have said they've enjoyed this more than the current Benedict Cumberbatch version. If you're into obscure Marvel TV shows, I guess maybe this is for you. The people on Shout Factory, someone actually said down here in the comments section, like, hey, any chance that Amazing Spider-Man is going to come out on Blu? We'd love that. And Shout actually responded and said, never say never. So maybe they've got, more up their sleeve. I don't know.
I want that. What is it? The Indian version of Spider-Man. You ever seen that stuff? That's hilarious.
No.
I want that. I want a box set of that.
No, I don't know. But Doctor Strange, it's out. Maybe you'll get your hands on one of those extra 500 that come out, Russ. Peter Noonan now starring in The Multiverse of Madness.
Directed by Sam Raimi.
Of
Wizard of Oz fame.
Another sort of, I guess, would you call this movie a cult classic? One that I also haven't seen.
Doctor Strange. I mean, it's
no, not Doctor Strange.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
BASEKETBALL.
Yeah, I think I would. I think I would.
Cult?
I think I would.
So
I've met enough people in my life who love it and are very passionate about it. That's the definition of a cult film for me.
Okay. Well, it's coming back out. Well, I don't even want to say coming back out. It's coming out on Blu from Mill Creek Entertainment on July 12th. It was previously released on Blu-ray back in 2017 from Universal. So it's not that old. And back in 2018 from 101 Films, which is a pretty cool label, they released it too in the UK. From what I can tell, and I don't know anything about this newest release, but if it's Mill Creek, you can probably assume it's going to be the same. Mm-hmm. The video, the audio, it was dated. It didn't look that great. This is the Universal version now, and the 101 version. They both had the same kind of stuff. Barely any supplements involved, and whatever they did have was like ported over from DVD. Mm-hmm. So who knows what to expect here? But I'd love to know your thoughts because I've never seen this movie. I can remember for when it came out. I remember my initial thoughts and why I ended up not seeing it. I actually didn't remember that this was done by David Zucker.
Yeah, Zaz team, man.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, what were your initial thoughts based on the trailer?
Well,
what held you back from watching it?
I don't know. It was like one of those things where South Park had just come out, and I was just getting into South Park, and all of a sudden the trailer came out for this movie not that long after, starring the guys that do the voices for South Park. And I was like, that's interesting, and even in the trailer, I remember who's it? Matt that does the Cartman voice. Like he does it briefly.
Trey
does it. Yeah. He does it briefly in the movie, I think, because he does it briefly in the trailer when he's like trying to psych someone out. And I was like, oh, that's him. Like that's the guy. Like it's just all these things were like.
That's
connected.
kind of like at the time. That was sort of the thing. It's towards the end of the movie. Yeah, he does a psych out and he does Eric Cartman's voice. And it was the first time you ever actually saw Trey Parker doing that voice. Since then, that voice has been digitally altered more.
Oh, they've kind of messed around with it a little bit.
I mean, Trey Parker still does it, but it's tweaked a bit. Cartman's voice was still pretty rough.
They refined it. Yeah, they refined it. But yeah, I don't know. It just the premise of it just seems silly. I don't know that I was completely sold on South Park or not. Maybe I just missed it and never went back to it or not.
The reason why BASEKETBALL works is it's everything you just said. It's silly, but Jesus Christ, it knows it's silly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's parts in the movie where, like you just said, it's the guys who created South Park and now they're in the doing a movie. They're starting. They literally say movie? That in the movie. Like, oh, that's really stupid. They got the star in their own, and they kind of look at the camera. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many outlandish things in this film. It's a blast, dude. It's funny. If you've seen it. It's Zaz. It's Jerry or David Zucker.
Yeah,
or
David.
Jerry? Okay.
David. Yep.
As you said, that's the Abrams Zucker team who did Airplane, Naked Gun, Top Secret. They're hot shots, bona fide comedic geniuses. Matt and Trey are bona fide comedic geniuses. Two different styles that throw together. I'm not saying it gels, but holy shit, these are two styles I love. Both sides know this is silly material, so they're just going for it. It's colorful, rewatchable.
Do you think that's
offensively funny in parts?
Do you think that's why it didn't take off? Because you have two comedic geniuses that like maybe didn't gel all the way? They work separately, but
I think it didn't take off because it was a live action film. South Park was so big at that time, and it was a live action film rated R. I don't think adults were messing with South Park just yet. Gotcha. You got to think this was 98. South Park debuted in 97. So it was still kind of like the kids were watching it.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie, I mean, people our age did watch it, but that's not getting them to an R-rated film. That, whenever an R-rated film that is trying to target kids, you're going to take a loss in profits.
Right.
That's what happened here. Critics tore it to shreds because this is a film that isn't a good movie.
Yeah,
it's not meant to be a good movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's making fun of films of vanity projects in a way, with Trey Parker and Matt Stone being in it just because they had the clout to do it. Trey Parker even said at one point, he said, I just did it. I knew it was terrible, but it was like, I'm going to work with people I admire.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, let's just do it. They ad-libbed some stuff, made it a little bit here and there their own, but of course they had to stick to the plot and all that.
Right.
One thing I want to bring up about them that I think is interesting, and you said the lack of features. You won't get features. One thing I love that Trey and Matt do, they do this on the South Park releases. They do mini commentaries. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of that or watched them? So basically, if you're going through South Park on the Blu-rays or DVDs, they'll do a commentary, but it can range anywhere from like 2 minutes to 5 minutes.
Like all of a sudden they'll just start talking?
No. It starts off. Yeah, you turn the commentary on, you watch the episode. Like, okay, hi, this is us. And so this happened. They'll say a little bit about it, and then just, yeah, I got no. That's okay. That's it. Let's go on the next one. That's it. The rest of the show, there's no commentary. They do the next episode just like that. They did. So
it's like they're skipping through the episodes. Like that's what it feels like, and they're giving.
Well, no, they're just you're not getting a full length commentary.
Yeah,
you're only getting 2 minutes to 5 minutes on each episode.
Gotcha.
Because they're not really fans. They don't take it seriously of it. Just like they did the commentary on they're Cannibal the Musical, and they're all like getting wasted the entire time. That's a hilarious commentary to listen to. But yeah, that's kind of what Trey and Matt do. They don't take that stuff seriously. So they're not going to come here or you know, give features for basketball or even the South Park movie. They're not, oh my God, this was a labor of love and this came from my heart and all that. They view that stuff as pretentious.
Gotcha.
So they're going to kind of make a mockery out of it all.
Sure.
Which, I mean,
works for them.
of course.
I mean, what's that one South Park? I remember watching, I don't know if if it's a season box set or something where they're like, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a behind the scenes or a commentary or something, but it cuts to them like in a hot tub. There's like an Asian man in between them, and they're just like talking like they're all rich. The guy in between them is never referenced, never talked to.
It was on a South Park DVD. I don't know if it was like one of those best of DVDs or if it was like the first season or two. I remember exactly what you're talking about.
And like they're in character, like they're in like a character. Like that's why I feel like they don't take this stuff seriously, and it actually makes it funnier.
It makes it funnier, and the fact that they're actually geniuses. They're on a level to where I would like to hear them be serious and talk about their craft. They're that intelligent. They're that brilliant at what they do. But it's like, no, we're not doing that. That's not what this is about.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
The brilliance is in the irrelevance. And if you explain irrelevance, you make it relevant.
Yeah.
And no, basketball's fun.
Did you know that it was actually supposed to be Chris Farley in this movie? Before
As
them?
who?
As Coop. Maybe
who would have been?
I don't know. They didn't mention. I saw just like read a couple of notes, but initially David Zucker wanted Chris Farley.
I could see
for
that.
this role. I don't know if he was going to be the only star, and then when they kind of got involved with these two, it was like, well, they're a package deal.
And you know what's funny?
But
it would have been a completely different. Everything I'm saying that makes this movie cult and fun and why I love it. If Chris Farley would have done it, Chris Farley would have grounded it. You would have
Tommy
felt
Boy 3 or something.
Well, you feel sympathy for Chris Farley. Chris Farley, as he can just do a look, and you're like, oh man,
Love Chris
they
Farley.
don't have that.
Yeah.
So every joke in here, there's nothing is going to be mistaken as sentimental in basketball.
Right.
Chris Farley, I think some of this stuff could have been a little more like trying to tug on the heartstrings. Nothing against Chris Farley, and obviously he couldn't do it at that point.
Well, I guess, you know, I don't know what reason why he didn't end up doing it, but then obviously on the heels of South Park being a success, that's why they brought them in. And according to them, it was like, we assumed South Park was going to be canceled. So we just jumped in on this. And then when South Park was not canceled, they did this movie, like the production of it during the day, and did all the South Park crap at night. So, I mean, they were like working like crazy for however long this took. And I mean, that's just a testament to them as well.
Yeah, it's still an easier task than doing Team America. They hated doing that.
Well,
they said they didn't realize how hard that was going to be, and they were doing Team America and South Park at the same time.
Yeah,
and they said never again.
Well,
you will never see a Team America sequel.
Yeah,
we're never doing marionette stuff ever again.
I was actually going to ask you, because I've never seen basketball, but I have seen Team America. Where does basketball, Orgasmo, Team America, what are we similar universes here? I mean, they had all the control of the other two, which is actually funny, because this one is the only thing that they've ever done where they didn't write, direct, and do like literally everything. They obviously gave suggestions to this movie, and David Zucker probably took them all. Yeah, but this is like something that has not really much to do with them completely controlling.
But it's oddly still in their universe, because I mean, there's a character in this movie named Tweak, and that's their friend in real life. He's done voices on South Park. He's in Orgasmo. He's in Cannibal. Yeah. So it is oddly their universe too. As far as what do you want to like rank their movies?
I don't know. It's just like
I mean, let's put it this way: South Park is brilliant. South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut is brilliant. Team America is brilliant. Orgasmo, which was the first film Trey Parker did that had like a budget. Yeah, he plays Orgasmo. He plays live action. It's a superhero movie in the adult film industry. A Mormon who turns porn star. Nice. That's a great introduction where he had a budget, and I mean, Cannibal is a great introduction where you see it, but it's all raw talent. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was refined. Once he got budgets and all that, it was like, wow, now you're up there with like Mel Brooks or something now. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
But basketball isn't quite there. But the stuff basketball, I'll explain it like this. It's one of those movies where the bad jokes go so bad that they circle back around and become funny again. You know what I mean? Like jokes that fail, that don't land, they end up being funny because of them. And just the way it's like, really? That's stupid. And like, oh my God, they did that. I guess it is kind of funny. Mixed in with genuine laughs. Yeah. So
do you own this already?
I own it on DVD. I've
own it
never
on
picked it
DVD.
up on Blu-ray.
own it on
No.
DVD.
I'll probably upgrade though.
Well, this movie, obviously, as you know, didn't really get good reviews, and I thought it was
No,
funny
not
that
at all.
Roger Ebert like tanked it, and then they named a South Park episode Roger Ebert should lay off the fatty foods, even though Roger Ebert wasn't even in the episode at all. He's not even referenced, but that's the name of the episode. I think that's hilarious.
Well, I'll tell you something even funnier. Yasmin Bleeth plays Trey Parker's love interest in this movie, and South Park ripped her to shreds, made her like a coke addict, crazy, like after it. Because she was in the news for, I think, getting busted for a DUI and cocaine.
Yeah.
And they roast her on South Park. And the whole time I watched it, I was like, dude, you worked with her.
Oh my God, that's terrible. That's a shame.
But that's what, again, dude, they're equal opportunity offenders, man.
Yeah.
That's what makes it work. There is no stance on a lot of, I mean, you could say there's a libertarian stance in their work, but it usually falls around, we're going to be offensive to everybody.
Everybody gets it.
Everybody, and not,
Because everybody deserves it
take Family Guy.
to some degree.
Family Guy doesn't do that. Family Guy has a liberal spin on it. Whether you're liberal or whatever, Family Guy isn't going to go hard on certain topics. Where South Park and Matt and Trey, I feel like everything's on the table. We're going to make fun of liberals, conservatives, rednecks, religion. Yeah, dude, everything. Scientology.
It's topical, and it's all topical.
Isaac Hayes was a voice on the damn show, and they ripped his religion to shreds. And they even said, they're like, we can't do, if we're going to do it to the Mormons, we got to do it to you too. We got to do it to us too. We got to, and I respect that.
I like that. No, I like that too. I also, I guess the only other thing that I didn't really know too much about as far as this movie is concerned is that David Zucker actually created this game himself and played it with his friends before making this movie, and included a lot of his friends in this movie that played it at his house with him.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. So this is like a real thing. So get your basketball crew together and play it at your own house. As of now, nothing is known about this release other than Mill Creek's putting it out, which most people are already saying they're probably not going to do crap. The previous Blu features, there was one 10-minute sort of on location making of kind of thing, which from what I read was completely boring and not really interesting whatsoever. I will say here, one thing, having not seen this movie, circling back to something that I didn't mention in the beginning when I kind of was paying a little bit of attention to it, I hate this cover art. Do you know why I hate it, Russ?
Why?
You said you own this on DVD. I think the DVD also looks the same as the previous Blu. So the Universal Blu looks slightly different than this basketball update from Mill Creek. And I hate this version. And the reason why I hate it is because Jenny McCarthy has been removed from it.
I didn't even notice.
And obviously it's because she's not relevant anymore. And when this came out, she was still kind of like a 90s babe or whatever. And when this came out, she was the 90s babe in my heart. And I feel like that was another like reason I was like, oh, maybe I will watch this. Jenny McCarthy, huge crush on her. So then I saw this cover art and I was like, oh, I didn't even think 2 seconds of it until I saw a side by side of the previous Blu. I was like, wait a minute, you're going to take my girl Jenny off the front? I mean, she's probably only on it because of her star power of the 90s. Is she not even a character?
I was just about to say, let me explain. It doesn't bother me at all because she was put on the cover in the 90s because she was the it girl.
You need sex appeal.
Yasmin Bleeth has more scenes in this movie than Jenny McCarthy.
I think, yeah, exactly. That's what I kind of gathered, that she's probably not even in it.
She's in it enough. She's in it enough. She's not like, it's not a cameo.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you add up all of her screen time in this movie, it's less than 10 minutes.
Gotcha. Maybe
not even 5.
Well, I'll leave you with one last head scratcher on this. Just one last one. Is that, Mill Creek is putting this out
Where's
August.
that slipcase? Where's the VHS slipcase?
Yeah, they're not doing that. That would kind of be cool. At least there would be something different there. But Mill Creek's putting this out in July. The Universal release is still available. You can still buy it. And I guess the thought is that maybe one day the Universal stock will run out, and that's where Mill Creek will kind of like pick it up. But I think the head scratching thing right now is that this Mill Creek release is $15.99. You can buy the Universal one right now for $11.99. So I don't know what Mill Creek is up to here. I don't know if they're in the business to make money or what, but I don't know. I don't know what
they're in the business of removing Jenny McCarthy from covers, Matt.
And then upping the price. Maybe it's going to debut at like $7.99 when it finally comes around. I don't know, but if you're interested in getting it, you can get it from Universal. You can get it from little old Mill Creek. Either way, it'll probably be identical I don't think anyone came back to give Mill Creek an updated transfer on BASEKETBALL. So I don't know. If you're going to get it, Russ, you can make your decision if it's going to be Mill Creek.
I think I am going to upgrade because this is one of those movies I watch over. You know, it's a movie you can put on the background and just check in every once in a while and have a laugh.
Okay. Well, another hot off the press announcement, one that I know you are super passionate about, and one that I'll let you just go to town on here because this is your special place in the physical media world. It's something here for you. Is The Love Witch. Mm-hmm. And I know you love The Love Witch, the film, and it has come out on Blu-ray before from Oscilloscope and one other company, I think, in the UK, and it had a decent amount of features on it and whatever. But this new release from Umbrella, which is kind of really up in their game recently. Like we've seen and covered a few of their releases, and they've always just kind of been fairly generic, but sometimes you'd see the features and be like, wow, they really got a couple of extra things that are unique to their market, which is Australia. We covered an updated version of Miami Connection that they're putting out with a t-shirt and a soundtrack and all this stuff. This Love Witch, I have to say, looks great. Now, I haven't really noticed too many times where they're doing slip boxes and stuff, but here they're going all out. So what's your take on The Love Witch, Russ, and what's your take on this release right here?
I am pre-ordering this the minute we're done recording.
Okay, there you have it.
I love this film. I think it's hilarious. I think it's one of the best movies of the past, I guess, 10 years. Well, from 2010 to 2020. Everything about it, the aesthetic, the message, the satire of it. It's everything I love. Anna Biller, the way she put this together, the way she made it, she crafted, I don't know, like you can't compare this to anything. You can't compare her style. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to make, like for instance, Miami Connection. That's a good, bad movie, but it's clearly a bad movie. Mm-hmm. The Love Witch isn't a bad movie, but it feels like a good, bad movie, even though it's not. So it's intentional comedy almost disguised as a good, bad movie with this retro, I don't want to say giallo, but more like soap opera-ish look to it.
Yes.
The kitschy style of it.
If you watch the trailer, you would think it's like in the 70s or something.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's incredible. I missed out. Well, I didn't miss out. I was lucky enough to see this in a theater, and then when it came out initially on Blu, I pre-ordered from Oscilloscope, as you mentioned, and I was so bummed out about 2 weeks after I received my copy. It was just a standard Blu-ray packaging disc.
Yeah,
I saw that Oscilloscope had like a thicker case version. And I wish I had that one because I'm such a huge fan of this film. People who watch our channel may have noticed I wear a shirt of this. I've owned that shirt for years. I always try to tell people about this movie. I know I introduced you to it.
You did?
So I never got that thicker, rigid cover of the Oscilloscope Love Witch version. And I've always been looking for it on eBay. I've actually messaged eBay sellers.
Have you?
I have, because I'm like, sometimes they'll put up a generic picture. And I'm like, can you tell me, is this the Oscilloscope release that is actual thicker, or is it just... And they're like, well, it's in the warehouse. We'll just have to ship it. You'll have to order. I'm like, fuck, I'm not taking a chance.
Not taking any chances?
No,
yeah.
So I'm really happy to see this get released. This is a release. Like, what more can you add to this? They literally added in this a feature film she did before The Love Witch.
Yeah, and then one thing, before we get into the features too, the one thing that I want to mention, and when you say, this looks, it has a feeling of like a good, bad movie and all this stuff, this movie is like critically acclaimed.
I know.
It's like got like a near perfect Rotten Tomatoes across like 150 critics.
It should. And you know what's funny? I know I'm going to get into like movie night that people watching or listening don't know too much about, but I remember feeling that way. I was like, this is actually good. Like I don't. When you first watch it, I don't blame any of you guys, because when you first watch
you're caught off guard. I feel like
you do, and you're kind of like, "What is this?" You're laughing. You don't know. It's like, am I supposed to be laughing at this? That's what great satire does, in my opinion. But yeah, dude, it's very well made. Imagine how hard it is to create what she made here.
Right.
Like I said, it wasn't a happy accident. All of the detail, all of the set designs, all the costuming, and all that's all her too. Like this is her. I mean, it's It's incredible.
Would you consider this a horror? What would you consider this movie?
Satire.
I mean,
Satire on gender roles.
But like
comedy.
If you were to genre this,
Comedy.
is a comedy? That's
Comedy.
what you call it?
Yes. I would. What would you
I mean,
call it?
and when I say horror, I don't mean like,
No, I know what you mean.
you know, like, but it's got the witch element. There is some interesting
Yeah. All right. Well,
death
horror,
and so on, like a
comedy.
comedy. Yeah.
More comedy than
It's
horror.
hard to put your thumb on. Maybe that's just me. It's hard. It's just hard to put like nail down what it made me feel or what it was. It definitely took me off guard. I was this is definitely a movie I would be super interested to watch one more time because you're just so not prepared for it the first time. And as you have done with me in the past when you play things like The Room, there's no like, here's how you should watch this, or here's what you should think, or this is how you should take this movie. It's just like, here it is, and this is great. And I sit there and I watch it, I'm like, what am I watching?
No.
Period blood in a jar?
Yeah,
like,
whenever I subject someone to films like this, I make them go in cold. I want to
Super
see
cold.
the reactions.
Yeah.
I want to see how they try to rationalize it.
Yeah.
Like something like The Room, I want to see what, come on, that's part of the joy of it.
Yeah.
As the person introducing films like this. But no, this is a bona fide great film, though. I keep saying bona fide.
Bona fide. I think let me just clarify one thing on the horror comment. Like, I guess when I said that, I think I'm more thinking about like horror from like the past, like 60s, 70s, like that type of horror where it is a little soap opera-y. And I guess maybe that's where I felt.
Actually,
I can see where you said comic or comedy, but
actually go back to the Doctor Strange segment that we just did. Yeah, like a TV movie.
Yeah.
From that era, also in some ways.
And what you said, you really love the theme. What would you say the theme of this movie is in general?
A satire on gender roles.
On gender roles. On how men perceive women and that kind of stuff.
Just gender. No. Not a perception. Just gender roles of society.
Of society.
She's basically the man, you know, and he is the absurd masculine. If you remember him, he's hilarious. The guy, the cop.
Oh, I
who
remember.
she ends up getting when they're at that like Renaissance fair. At the dude, and you hear their inner thoughts and what he's thinking and what she's thinking. That's one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's what I view it as.
It's pretty interesting. And looking at this set that Umbrella is releasing, I'd never known what the director looked like. And there's a poster here for a film that she had done prior where she literally looks like the actress that plays in The Love Witch. And it seems like they modeled her appearance directly off of the director herself, which I think is kind of interesting that she would give her almost exact likeness.
Well, either that or the director is a fan of that look. I mean, she's playing a character. She stars in that movie, Viva. It's not like she's just walking around. Well, maybe she is. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she. Yeah.
So this is a strong recommendation from you.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Hell yeah.
Well, let's run through what this is. What's even going on here? Because when I looked at the oscilloscope release, I saw a handful of features and a handful of like deleted scenes. And I mean, it's not bare bones, but it's nothing like what you're seeing here. So obviously this is a collector's edition from Umbrella. It's coming out July 6th.
Does it come with a period blood in
a period blood jar?
Period blood jar.
This probably will not make any of our edited or our segments on YouTube, but for those of you listening, Russ and I are part of a movie night group, and Russ one time as part of a end of year celebration brought everyone in the movie night group their very own jar, which contained not real period blood, but in this movie as part of like a ceremony, she puts together this jar, which is based in fact, like real witchery, real sorcery, or whatever you want to call it, is something that has actually been known to be done by alleged witches, where they put period blood. And what else did they put in there? What else was in that jar?
It was a whole like concoction.
Yeah, like things like to like cast a spell, basically. Yeah. But the end of it was, here comes the period blood, and that was a little interesting. But Russ made replicas for everyone, which I really appreciated. Russ, thank you for that.
Well, just one minor correction: it was period blood.
It was actual period blood.
Was.
Okay. Well, back to those of you that are watching at home. Outsourced.
Period. Blood.
So
back to the segment.
Yeah. So back to the segment. You're in, again, coming from Umbrella, I very rarely see them doing stuff where you're getting extras like tarot cards and posters and all this stuff.
Well, I feel like this is new now.
It's just kind of a new thing for
with
them.
Miami Connection and this. They're really kind of stepping in. I just wish it was 4K. Why are they doing all this stuff? Do it in 4K.
Come on, Umbrella.
If this was in 4K, oh my God, that would be I would never have to own another edition of The Love Witch again.
Exactly, because the next time it comes out in 4K, that's when you're going to have to double dip.
And I love this movie so much. This is one of those movies for me. I will own every incarnation, every release. I will keep my old release. It will be sitting next to this one. whatever comes out in the future, we'll join the club.
Yeah, and I think unless a lot of these features and commentaries and stuff are exclusive, and there's rights issues with them only being in the Australian market, maybe at some point some release will come out for us that will maybe be 4K and contain some of this stuff, because there are so many things here that were not included on the prior Blu-ray. Now, exclusively limited to 100 is a little bit of a pinch.
Yeah, let's hurry up and finish recording this segment so I can get this ordered, man.
Russ, bring your phone out right now and start ordering.
Can I do it while we record?
Go ahead.
Actually, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, let's bring that out. Let's get that.
We're relatable to the audience. We're real people too.
This was literally just announced today on their feed in Instagram, so hopefully it's still there. Hopefully there's less than 100 people that saw it, or less than 100 people that care. But go for it, Russ. So while you're doing that, it's coming with a tarot card deck with some art cards featuring artwork from the Love Witch, and an A3 reversible poster. Pretty cool. It's a 2-disc set. You're getting audio commentary with the director, Anna Biller, and the actress, Samantha Robinson, on the oscilloscope release. Those were the only two people on the commentary. On this one, you also have the cinematographer and the actor-producer, Jared Sanford. You're also getting a special message from the Love Witch, which is for the theatrical version, behind the scenes, interview with the cinematographer, deleted scenes, a ton of deleted scenes, extended scenes, a bunch that are listed here. You're getting the trailer, the uncut trailer, all that kind of stuff, an interview with Anna Biller from Fantastic Film Fest in Australia. And then moving over to the second disc, which I know Russ was a little bit perturbed by, at least in the United States, in the U.S. market, where he bought this already.
I picked up, well, actually, I think it was an import. Also,
I
think it's a UK. It was a special edition of Viva it was on Blu-ray too. So yes, I even own the other movie included on this.
Yeah, so included here, which is again makes this a really great set, is a movie called Viva, which is a feature film by the same director, Anna Biller, which came out prior to this. So you're getting that entire film on disc 2. Plus you're getting her short film collection, which has, a couple of short films, one that's almost 45 minutes long, a behind the scenes of that film, a trailer, and all kinds of stuff. So you're getting a whole other movie with its own whole other set of features to go along with it, which is pretty wild. And I will say, now that we're talking about that, what does come to mind is when we covered their Showgirls release, they included that documentary that you had mentioned that you also had bought separately.
Yeah.
I forget what the name of it was.
You Don't Know Me.
Yeah,
Naomi.
right. So they included that too. So it looks like they're doing that again here. They've got a nice slipcase on it, which I like. Has got like a little sticker on it that says, also including Viva. It's got their umbrella logo on there. In general, just a dynamite knockout set for this release. I know Russ is a big fan and recommends anyone.
It's still available.
Russ is still available, and Russ is purchasing it live, right here, right now.
You are witnessing a collector collect.
You're witnessing it full real time.
We're the real deal here.
We should just start doing that more often. Just start buying stuff online as we do these segments.
Just watch.
That'll be a next segment. Watch Matt and Russ buy all the movies they've talked about, and watch them get frustrated as they find out most of them are sold out. I think that might be good.
Was that 100 a typo? It doesn't say that on Umbrella's.
Maybe they're saying like only 100 are getting these extra things. Maybe only 100 are getting the Love Witch tarot cards, the exclusive artwork, the poster. Maybe everybody else is just going to get the slipcase edition. So that's true.
Yes.
So you still want the ultimate rare one, because I think these are numbered and people will know which one you have, Russ. There's only a couple of comments on this so far. One of them says, awful movie. You don't get it, Big D 515077. Sorry, you don't. I'm actually, and that's what I'm going to do too. I'm going to real time reply. You don't get it.
Send them a link to our to 4K Kings.
There we go. See that? See what we're doing live here? You don't get it. So yeah, any other further thoughts for us on this movie?
Masterpiece.
So for those of you interested, if you've never gotten this before, this is definitely the one to get. If you have gotten it before, be like Russ, buy it all over again. July 6th from Umbrella, awesome company. This looks amazing. A couple other just minor releases this week, Russ. Some other things just to mention. Did you get it
I'm
locked
putting
in?
my card information.
Get your
right
card
now.
information in ready. Get your card information.
Need the CVV.
Get your CVV info. We'll wait for that. For those of you listening in the car right now, Russ is getting out his credit card. He's getting out the CVV code so that he can finalize the purchase here.
Hey man, you want a copy too?
Yeah, buy me 2, Russ. Give me an extra one.
Utah, give me 2.
I love it.
Anyway, Argento.
Oh yeah. So coming up next, we've got a bunch
Don't
of
confuse me, or I'm going to end up shipping the Love Witch to Dario Argento.
yeah. So coming up next, we have a lot of just other announcements that had come out this week. Just a couple of minor things. Some maybe a little bit bigger than others, or some that caught my eye and I thought would be interesting to share. The very first one is coming from Arrow as well as Synapse. So Arrow's putting out more Giallo stuff. Arrow is putting out more Dario Argento for that ass, Russ. If you want more Argento, here he comes.
For that ass.
It's coming. And this time it's coming in 4K Ultra HD, July 18th, in its 40th anniversary restoration. In what's called, I believe, Tenebrae?
I always thought it was pronounced Tenebrae.
Tenebrae? I'm going to need a fact check, a clarification. Someone phonetically do this for me at the bottom in a comment?
This is so embarrassing for us. We do a movie podcast.
Tenebrae.
And I watch Giallos, and Argento. I had the misfortune of seeing Suspiria at too young of an age.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
Well,
Much like that commenter did not.
Phenomena, that one too.
Oh, I got Phenomena.
Oh, I got that one.
You got Jennifer Connelly, Donald Pleasance hanging out with a monkey. I got that.
But this, not
She
so much.
talks to bugs.
Yeah, well,
Classic.
Deep Red was another one that I think we recently covered. Crystal Bird, gold plumage or something.
Yeah, bird with the crystal plumage.
Yeah, they're just pumping these out. But I will say that of all the ones that have come out, I've seen the most chatter about this one, where people are very excited. Even on our channel, people have commented like, "This is the one to get. You've been waiting for the right one. Here it comes."
Mark, friend of the show, he sent us a side email saying, "Hey, knowing your guys' taste, you guys should probably check this out if you want your introduction to Argento."
And also because I guess Tarantino he put his seal of approval on this. Mark also mentioned. So yeah, I mean, that kind of makes me interested as well. But I am unfamiliar with this one, but everyone's saying get this ASAP. Now, this is only in the UK. Synapse also has it coming out, as they tend to do, where they do their little mirror versions of Arrow releases, and they're doing that again here. Now, their version looks completely different. If you look on the inside, the discs, the cards, literally everything's different. So in the past, I have seen where it's just the box is different, but the poster's the same and the cards are the same. But now they're kind of going a little route where you're going to want to buy both if you really want everything here. Now, the features are identical. So that's the only thing to keep in mind. So maybe it's a situation where you just buy the version you like. Mm-hmm. I will say I like the Arrow art better.
Too.
I like this yellow. I like this like person's hanging over with their neck cut. This lady.
We're so
here.
unfamiliar with the feature, though. Watch, we're probably completely off.
Yeah,
Diehards are like, no, the Synapse cover art, that's meaningful. That's a key scene in the film.
Yeah, it's true. It seems like this lady hanging down with her neck cut is featured in both. But I just like the color here. I just like the black, complete black and complete yellow. I think that's pretty cool. The one thing that I don't understand though here, and maybe someone else can chime in on this, is they haven't made their mind up on the way they want to spell the title. On the poster, it's spelled without an A. On the cover, it's spelled with an A. So I don't know if that's like a translation thing, like, we want to give the best of everything. Like in one region, it was spelled this way, and another it was spelled this way. I don't know. But on all the cards, the A is missing. Why is the A on this box? Am I going to get another disc recall, box art recall from Arrow in the future?
I don't think it's that. I don't think their lack of oversight is that bad to where the
spelled it wrong.
To where the cover of your product is messed up.
I mean, they're doing the same.
Then again, it's Zavvi, maybe.
They're doing the same with the Synapse. The AE is on the cover, but the E only is on the inside.
It's got to be a translation.
Yeah, thing. I don't know. I'm curious about that. But let me just run down features just really quick, because this is another situation where there's a ton going on here. There are 3 total discs. First disc being the original version. Second disc being the Unsane version, which is limited exclusive to these releases. So when these probably get put back out again in a trimmed down version, this Unsane version will not be included. This is only in the limited edition.
Interesting.
And then disc 3 is a Blu-ray of the original version. So I don't know what's different about the unsane version, only it says here that it's the re-edited 90-minute US version specially recreated for this release from the new 4K restoration of the full-length 101-minute version, which is exclusive to 4K Blu-ray. I'm a little confused as to what that means, I'm not going to lie. It looks like there's some 101-minute version that they created the original 90-minute version from, like, to get the same quality. Like, I don't know, what's your take on that? What does that mean?
Man, you got to think this is Italian horror, giallos, whatever you want. No, what I'm trying to say is there were so many different kinds of cuts and edits for TV for different countries. Even what people saw in America from some of these releases were drastically different from what was debuted. We were talking about my man, Mark Paul Noonan from Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Night Killer was actually released as Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 in certain markets.
I remember you telling me that.
And that has nothing, like, no one would confuse that with Texas Chainsaw. Like, a 4-year-old wouldn't confuse that with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I'm with you. Who knows? I'm sure Argento diehards out there can explain it to us, but that doesn't necessarily mean like lack of quality of the film itself. It's just the way things were done back then.
Yeah, perhaps. And I mean, again, it says it's a 40th anniversary upgrade. It's from the original camera negative. So they really are, again, they're doing a great job with all this giallo stuff, all this Dario Argento stuff. The features are packed. I mean, I can't even go through them all. Every single disc, this disc has so much stuff on it, as well as the unseen version. And then again, you're just going to get the disc 3 being the Blu-ray with all the same content. But solid package overall. Arrow's also putting out a giallo collection again this same time around, which has a lot of other giallo films in it. They keep putting these out. So yeah, so big fans of this movie. I mean, I'm interested to see one of these things. I mean, they keep, you know, like I haven't seen any. And if this is the one to see, then maybe this is the one to check out. I don't know, but I am interested.
That's what I've always felt with Argento. I've only seen Suspiria and Phenomena, and I just know it in my bones. Like, I'm not going to the right ones.
Yeah.
And I've always heard, as you said, I've always heard Tenebrae and Deep Red were the two to like check those out.
Definitely.
But it's like, nah, I'm just going to go watch Donald Pleasance hang out with his monkey for the third time. And a magnifying glass and a microscope and all. He's a fucking scientist, that guy.
Scientist. So this is coming out July 18th in the UK, and it's coming out a week later, July 26th in the US for Synapse, from Synapse for the US folks. So come and get that. A couple other like stupid looking things I saw Zavi's putting out, and you know, like, hey, it's the 50th anniversary. I'm going to put this movie out again with nothing else, just a new Steelbook. And I don't know. We've from the studio that brought you the Deer Hunter Steelbook case that you love so much, Russ. I present
that cover.
I know. I present to you Deliverance.
That's one of my favorite covers of all time.
It's a great cover, but they're doing the same thing here for Deliverance in the 50th anniversary. I present to you their Steelbook for Deliverance. Man. What am I looking at here?
You know what you're looking at. You're looking at the little inbred boy playing the banjo.
I get
and
the
then the
silhouette.
banjo strings are them on the river.
I get their clever ass artistic, you know, like take with, oh, it's a banjo and they're swimming down it. But why does it look so dumb? Like, I mean, not that the idea.
I don't think that's that bad.
Not that the idea is dumb, but I think the way that it looks, I think, is dumb. You don't think that looks dumb?
No,
I think it looks dumb.
I mean, I'm not saying this is, oh my God, that is the most amazing artwork I've ever seen. That doesn't bother me, though.
They're exclusive.
I like how it's an abstract image, but I can clearly tell what it is. The slits of the eyes on the kid looks weird. You know what I mean? I can tell. I like that.
All right, well, fuck me.
And this film is, come on, this film, even people who've never seen Deliverance, we know the banjo, scream like a pig. We know all that.
Will you be picking up this exclusive 50th anniversary limited edition Steelbook that's only purpose is to spend $24 on a movie you already own with nothing new on it whatsoever?
No, because that cover artwork is ugly.
Exactly. And talking about ugly, here comes in its 55th anniversary, Bonnie and Clyde. Warren Beatty, Faye Dunaway, Bonnie and Clyde.
I am a big fan of this movie. I own the Warner Brothers Blu-ray digibook of it.
Well, one person has reviewed this and given it a 3-star rating. And it says, meh, got mixed feelings about this cover, which of course is the only reason to get this.
I'm kind of, you know what's weird? It reminds me of the Chinatown cover. I feel like that's what they were going for.
I'm with you.
There were covers like this in the 60s and 70s.
I don't know, dude.
Warren Beatty looks ridiculous. He looks like
does.
fucking Dick Tracy right there or something.
Yeah, I mean, I just love these, like, oh, it's the 55th anniversary. Get excited. Here's some cover art we slapped together for it.
This was 67 or something.
Yeah, it's like...
Oh, I guess that is 55th right there.
Yeah, good math. Here comes the 50... Yeah.
I'm like, what anniversary? Yeah.
Here comes the 58th anniversary with the new Steelbook. It's like, these just suck. I don't know. These suck.
Yeah, I won't be picking that up.
No. One other funny... I hope you find this will be funny. One other funny...
Great movie, though.
I haven't seen
Great
it.
movie. I love this movie. Always have.
So if you haven't seen the movie, maybe. If you are a fan of Universal Soldier...
It's another Gene Wilder movie you've never seen.
Is he Bonnie
Have
Wright?
you seen any Gene Wilder movie outside of Willy Wonka? Dude, he has a small part in it, and it's hilarious, too, in this. And Gene Hackman.
I'm thinking hard, man. Other than Young Frankenstein, I don't know. Wow. I'm thinking hard. I mean, I've seen parts of Blazing Saddles. I've seen parts of...
You are a Gene Wilder poser, man.
I am, dude. I am a poser. But I'm not...
Get off my channel.
I am not... I am not a Jean-Claude Van Damme poser. But I will tell you that I will not be picking up Universal Soldier anytime soon. But if you are a fan of Universal Soldier and you want to pick it up in 4K, although it's been released in 4K before, Best Buy has an exclusive Steelbook coming out for this movie. And they're doing that silly thing where they've got like this slip that goes over top to change the cover, but no matter what you're looking at
I
here,
have to interrupt you here. What the fuck is that on the left-hand side? That doesn't even... Forget JCVD. That doesn't even look human. That looks like a burn victim.
none of this looks good.
Dude.
Look at the left, look at the right. It doesn't matter which version of this cover you're looking at.
Man, the right
suck.
one's a little better. Oh, that's the slipcase. I guess that goes on top. All right. That slipcase is dog shit.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's a pencil. It's a pencil. It's a drawing. Clearly, it's an illustration
From an 8-year-old.
From an 8-year-old. They got Dolph. They got Jean here. Jean himself. And the steel itself is them, I guess, in regular army civilian clothes. I can't tell. And then when you put it on top, it's now they're Universal Soldiers. Now we've got our eyepiece on and our machine guns, like, or whatever. It's like it's just funny to me. I've never seen this movie, so maybe there's a big audience for it.
I actually never have either.
This Steelbook just looks like crap.
This was probably the biggest JCVD release that I haven't seen, I believe.
Really?
I even saw Time Cop.
This is a kind of a big release. You're right. I have
in
not
his
seen
catalog.
This. Yeah, in his catalog.
Definitely
for,
for Dolph.
For sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's 4K, Best Buy exclusive. It looks like it comes with, again, this little silly Steelbook, silly case that goes over top. I don't know. I saw this in his laughs because they look so laughable in their little outfits and stuff. I don't know who looks worse here.
Van Damme.
Which one? They both kind of look terrible.
Van Damme looks terrible. Dolph don't look too bad.
He don't look too bad.
If I'm being honest. But Van Damme is front and center more than Dolph, which makes it even more jarring and fucking terrifying. Look at him on that slipcase, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't. He does. He looks bad.
He looks like Gary Oldman in Hannibal.
Yeah.
We're going to have to cut to a clip. I don't think you got what I'm saying there.
In Hannibal?
When he's all like disfigured his face and it's like stretched out. He doesn't have like eyebrows and stuff.
I've never seen Hannibal. You're gonna have to cut to the
We'll cut to a clip.
Cut to a clip there. And then the last release I just wanted to mention, and believe me when I tell you, I'm not here to poke fun, but I did want people to be aware that these movies are still coming out. These movies are still being released. There's still trailers for Bruce Willis movies coming. And Fortress Sniper's Eye, the second film in the Fortress franchise, is coming soon. The war isn't over, Russ. It's just starting. In the second movie? Isn't the war started in the first? I don't know. I don't know what happens in the third, but...
I have nothing to say except love and support for Bruce Willis and his family. I will be watching this film. It's probably very good.
We love you, Bruce. We love you.
I'm guessing it'll top Die Hard.
Maybe. I've actually seen some sincere comments about this movie where people were like, I saw it. It wasn't as good as the first. like what? Like, legitimate, sincere. Like, I went into this with good intentions. Like, I wanted to see this because I just like these kinds of movies. And like, you know what? That first one I liked. This one just not so much. It's like that moviegoer is still like very funny to me. That is still going to see these in a very serious way. I don't know.
After being blown away by Chad Michael Murray's performance in the original, I felt he was just phoning it in Fortress 6.
Well. All right. Well, now that we've got through,
And real quick,
all right,
we're gonna throw some more mea culpas to Bruce Willis.
right.
To Bruce Willis here.
Yep.
We know his reason. What's yours, Chad? What's your ailment, Chad?
What is it? And also
Just
Jesse Metcalf.
Nah, he's the bomb.
He's-
But Chad.
Well, that's all the Blue News for the week. Russ, you got a recommendation for the people at home?
Depends on what time it is.
We got time for a recommendation.
Do we?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
Okay.
Why don't you hit me with a little recommendation?
Oh, so we're just gonna wing this segment.
Yeah. Hit me with what you got this week. You got 10 minutes.
I have 10 minutes.
And then I get 10.
For the introduction to our new recurring segment, recommendations.
Matt and Russ recommend the hits.
Yeah, hey,
We'll come up with a catchy title.
Fuck that. That's a good title. Matt and Russ recommend the hits. I love it.
Good.
I'm going with House 2, The Second Story.
I love House 2, dude.
I didn't know you loved House 2. I knew
do.
you loved House 1.
I liked them both for
I
the
love
same
House
reasons you
2
probably do.
more than House 1.
I could see.
Well, for me, it's
They're just
very-
completely different.
For me, it's very personal. I believe this was the first horror movie I've ever seen.
Really?
I think so.
Wow.
I probably saw parts of others, on TV, but I was 6 when I
Yeah.
saw this. And I had a babysitter. It was my mom's friend watched me, and it was at her place, and I'd never been there. So her house was completely unfamiliar. She just left me alone in a room to watch this movie. And I was scared, honestly, mostly of the Slim character, because the rest of it's corny. But I love what this movie is. It was, to me, the perfect first horror movie for what age I was, because it plays comedically. It's silly. I mean, it's even sillier than House 1.
It's very well. House
it's-
1, like you mentioned, you watched this as a kid. I watched House 1 as a kid too, and was scared by House 1.
I'm about to say, House
was
1
very
hits
funny,
hard.
kind of.
This doesn't hit hard. This one is just kind of creepy with the way the Slim character looks.
Yes.
House 1 has like that Vietnam shit going
There
on
is some
and all that.
right. You're taking it's a little off-putting as a kid.
Yeah, and House 2 has a pet caterpillar, cute little thing in it.
Yeah. And a fun grandpa.
Oh,
and
Gramps
a
is the
golden,
man,
like a glowing skull. Like, what's that guy's name? I don't. Please pronounce his name for me.
I always said Airy. Gross.
Okay. I wish you were going to be like, I know it definitively, because I've
No,
never been able
I
to figure
don't
that
know
out.
it. He doesn't know it.
Arye.
He changes it daily.
It doesn't look like air. It looks like Arye or Arye or something. Can someone phonetically spell that as well as Tenebrae down below?
Tenebrae starring Ari Gross. Ari Gross. Nah, Gramps. Actually, the one part made me jump. You know when they're digging up Gramps?
Yeah.
The part?
Yeah.
And they flip it off and his hand comes up and starts choking Jesse or whatever.
Who plays Gramps? Why do I know that guy's voice from something? Is that like Slim Pickens or something?
It's Royal Dano.
Royal Dano.
Now, he was an accomplished actor in like Westerns and shit like that years and years and years ago. He wasn't really doing anything when this
he sounded
came
so
about.
familiar, his voice.
As I grew older with this film, one thing I adore about it is that it stars Bill Maher.
Yeah, dude.
So funny. And I became a huge fan of Bill Maher when I was a teenager and all that. And going back, it's hysterical. I mentioned before on a segment we did, must have been on Robin Hood Men in Tights. I had a little crush on Amy Yazbek. She's in this.
Oh.
I mean, this movie crosses all the... It's just fun. It's silly. I adore it, man. And I have a funny sort of collector story about this purchase. If you notice, I'm holding up just the solo release of House 2. I'm not holding up the Arrow box set. So
House 1 does have that cool art with the hand ringing the doorbell.
Oh, dude, I have House 2 tattooed on me. That's
that
how
Gramps?
important... No.
Who is that? I can't see. Oh, it's just the hand with the key.
It's the cover of the movie.
Yeah.
That's how... Come on, man. I love this movie. This one's personal for me. So anyway, when Arrow announced they were putting out the House set, in North America, it was only 1 and 2. And then in the UK, in the Region B releases, it was House 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I didn't even know they went that far.
That's right. In America, I believe House 3 wasn't released as House 3
A different
in
title.
America. It was a different title, had nothing to do with these at all.
Yeah.
And I think House 4 brought back the dude from the first one
Mm-hmm.
and Carrie, I forget his name, and kind of tied it together. But I don't even think that was fully released in America. I'm not sure. I've never seen House 3 or 4. But anyway, at the time, it cost $40 to have that set shipped from the UK here, and it cost $40 to buy the American UK or the American Arrow set, which was just 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And it had free shipping because I was getting it from Amazon. So I was like, fuck it, I might as well get the one with all 4, right? And it was region free. I don't know why they advertised it before it was released, but I knew it was region free.
Right.
It's like, no brainer. Let me order that one. I only want House 2 really anyway. So I ordered it, got it. I'm not kidding. This thing went out of stock because of that dilemma. I guess everyone around the world just ordered the European one.
Yeah.
And dude, immediately, as soon as I got it, I'm looking at eBay. This set's going for like $200, $300.
No kidding.
And I'm looking at it like, damn, I really only want House 2. And I spent $40. And this is a sad story for a collector. It's a collector's confessional.
I'm ready for it, man.
I put it on eBay. So I didn't price gouge the hell out of it.
What'd you do? 20% more?
I didn't go 300. I sold it for like 100.
I could have gone 300. I went for 100.
I took the $60 profit I made and bought the standalone.
The one you really wanted?
The standalone single edition
one
of
you
House 2. No slipcase, no nothing. Just the. But dude, this has a featurette on it. That's I believe it's about an hour and a half of a making of. It's like a feature length making of.
Yeah.
Everybody comes back. Well, not Bill Maher and Amy Asbeck.
What about Bull from Night Court? Does he come back?
He doesn't at all. Wait.
I forget his name. He was in one. I forget his name.
I was about to say, Bull's not in
He's
this.
in the first one, yeah.
No.
He's the Vietnam friend.
Yeah. Well, in this one, it's not Cliff. Wait, is it Cliff? Cliff's in this one. Norm's in the first one.
Yeah, right.
That's
Norm's in the first one. He's the
I just
neighbor.
fucked that up. Yep. Man, you lost my train of thought.
Sorry,
what
dude.
Was I saying before that?
That all these people came back.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, the features are great. Everyone's excited to talk about it.
Really?
Like Ari Gross's
Did
friend.
Ari Gross
Yeah.
come back?
Oh man, it's been a while since I watched it. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure he did. But the guy who plays his friend in it, like the cut up, the sarcastic, guy, he's back and he loves every second that he spent on this film.
Wow.
And it's great listening to him talk about it. Like it's
I mean, the movie is fun, so I assume
is.
they probably had fun making it.
I know. And like I always said, with films like this, what makes them so infectiously enjoyable is that they know this is fucking silly.
Yeah.
There's no way you're making that. By the time it gets to like the Halloween party, and actually, fun fact, it's Kane Hodder in this scene who like throws the dude off the balcony.
Oh, yeah,
and remember they go into the one room and now they're in Jurassic Park
It's like
all of a
it's
sudden.
like a jungle. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it's like no holds barred. We know this is silly as fuck. We're having fun with it. And I miss movies like that.
How old were you when you saw it? This one?
It came out in 87, so and literally if I was being babysat by the person who it was, I had to have been, it must have just come out on video. Because I was about 6 or so.
Because I kind of forget about this movie, and I know we talk about House now and then, and I know you like House too, and just you saying it, I was just playing the movie back in my head and how much fun. I remember having it with as a kid and being refreshed that it wasn't House 1 again, because again, House 1 kind of scared me.
You were traumatized?
I was like, I can't take any more House 1 shit, please. But I'm thinking about my own son, and I'm like, I think he might like this movie, because it is fun. It's cool.
It is. And dude, especially once you get to about the halfway mark, that Halloween party and all that, it's basically not even horror anymore.
No.
It's just,
I never felt scared by it at all.
It's just fantasy at this point.
And like you said, the slim character, the actual villain, the other cowboy that's kind of scary, like he never even really scared me. He was like, oh, he's just got to be formidable.
He's just menacing.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about when I was 6 years old in an unfamiliar house alone watching this. And all the shots with him, because you only really see him in the beginning and in the end at the showdown, it's shot very dark.
Yeah.
So even like the makeup, your imagination is filling in the pores on his face. Granted, we're all watching shit in 4K and HD now, but back then it was like it was shadowy. It was on a tube television, and those memories, that's what makes us all love this kind of shit.
Yeah.
It was like it was visceral for a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Now today, if I watch this for the first time, I'm like, this is the most garbage shit I've ever seen in my life. Nah, I'd still like it.
I like how they refer to it as the second story because it doesn't really tie in like too much at all, right?
I don't remember it tying it at all.
That's what I mean. I feel like they're treating it like it's like an anthology or something.
Yeah.
Like here's one story, here's another one, and whatever. So,
Yeah.
it's awesome. I recommend this movie as well.
It is. You haven't seen it, check it out. It's fun.
Okay.
You?
Can I recommend a movie?
You sure can.
So I'm recommending a movie today called Hands on a Hardbody. And And just like you, Russ, I have kind of an interesting collector story that goes along with this. But I just want to kind of talk about my fondness for this movie to begin with, and why I like it. And you've seen this movie as well, and you can, I'm sure, chime in too. So this is a documentary. I'm gonna hold it up. This is a documentary that was filmed and originally came out on DVD in 1995, and I guess didn't really get maybe too much steam back then. And then I think later on, the actual filmmakers themselves created a website for this movie. And then they put out this, which is essentially like a remastered DVD. Like, this isn't on Blu. It's never been on Blu. This is a DVD. And it was a remastered picture and all this kind of stuff. And they kind of had this website that lived out there for anybody that wanted to purchase this movie. But the way that I found out about it is I was watching, Tarantino had just come out with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he was on Jimmy Fallon. And there was a clip, it was brand new that day that I was looking at. It was like, I forget what the title was, but essentially it was Tarantino recommending movies. And Jimmy Fallon was like asking him all these recommendations that he would have and what's his method for recommending things to people. And he said, when I worked in a movie store, I would always kind of get to know what people's tastes were as they came in and out. And I would recommend things to them that I thought they would like. But then he said, but one movie that I would recommend to anyone, it doesn't matter who you are or what you like, is this movie, Hands on a Hardbody. And he didn't even really say too much what the movie was. He didn't even really set it up. He was just like, it's one of those movies where you start along on this ride with the people in this movie, and before you know it, you're completely invested, you're completely caught up and into how this thing is going to end. And I was like, that's good enough for me to at least research and look at. I mean, the guy's that passionate about it. He would recommend it to anyone. Favorite director. Let's check it out. So I found a copy online, downloaded it, and watched it. And 100% correct. 100% correct. This movie, essentially, if you didn't know it was a real documentary, you would assume that it's a mockumentary. You would assume that this is put up, that not only the subject matter is fake, but the people that have been are involved are not real. They're actors or something. You would think right away this is just a joke, but this is 100% real. And let me just set it up briefly. So the title, it's called Hands on a Hardbody. And back in the 90s, some Texas town, some car dealership in Texas, they put up a car as a contest to come down and you could win this car. But the way that you win it is they would draw 12 names out of a hat of anybody that was interested. Those 12 people came down. They had to put one hand on this car. And whoever was the last person to take their hand off the car wins the car. Throughout the entire course of this contest, you had 5-minute breaks every 60 minutes. So every hour that went by, you would get a 5-minute break to sit down, to eat something, whatever. But then 5 minutes is over, back hand on the car. This contest had run before in years prior, and it goes for hours, nearing 100 hours in some cases. I think one of the prior ones they discussed went on for 102 hours. That's like the record. 102 hours of standing there with your hand on a car with only brief 5-minute breaks. And that's kind of the premise of these people. Like I said, it sounds outrageous that this is even a thing, but this is a contest, and this is a movie about that contest. And it's just phenomenal. I mean, it just is. It's one of those things where, like I said, you would think that it was fake because some of the some of the people involved are just so funny, are so outrageous. You would think that they plucked all these different types of people out to fill out their movie to make it fun, but these are legit just 12 rando names pulled out of a hat for this contest. The guy who's on my shirt, we love this movie so much. We had these shirts printed a long time ago. That's Benny. He's like the hero in a way of this film. He is the touchstone. I keep him close to my heart, as you can tell.
May I interject for a second?
You may.
Benny would be, if this was a fictional faux documentary done comedically, Andy Samberg or Will Ferrell would be playing him.
Yes.
With the cocky bravado.
Yes. And he's a real dude, and that's
yes.
and some of these characters, they're so easy to poke fun at. Like almost all of them, they do interviews with them prior to, and their commentary throughout as they're filming these people live, real time. There's 2 filmmakers. They keep changing cameras and film, and they've run through hundreds or almost 100 hours plus of filming this thing because they're there with them the whole time. Some of these people are just so laughable, but the great thing about this movie is, like Tarantino said, you're in it for 10 minutes and you start to really care. Like, these people, in a way, are undergoing an ordeal. And dare I even say a traumatic experience where you're up for 100 hours straight, no sleep at all, standing there with your hand. And it becomes, as they mentioned in the movie, mind games. Things start to kind of play tricks on you. Did I hear something? Am I hearing voices? People are losing their sanity, running off like wandering away. No one can like really like break through to them. Like it's like a crazy experience, but you really just start to appreciate these individuals and who they are and the bond that they all form. They form such a unique bond that I'm also forming with them. And it was very refreshing, to say the least. And I will say that when the ending rolled around, I actually got pretty emotional. I might have even squeezed a tear out a little bit just in how it concluded. Not that like necessarily like I was the person I was rooting for won or anything, but just the way that the story concluded was very nice. It was very sweet. And I would also recommend this to anybody at all. And I think one of the things that I really, again, look back to having only seen this movie recently is like where we are as a society, how there's a lot of warring factions and, you know, political ideologies and all this stuff. And, you know, everybody's either this team or that team. When you look at this group of people, if this was modern day, these people would be screaming at each other, hurling insults, you know, really degrading each other because this is a contest and, you know, I don't like you or how you look or what you stand for. You know, there'd be political stuff probably involved. Every single one of these people are different backgrounds, creeds, you know, races. Some of them are really trashy. Some of them are like just fairly normal. They're all getting along. They are all supporting one another. It's not like cutthroat. It's really like wholesome in a way. And I really appreciate that.
I agree 110%. I was going to use the word wholesome.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Tarantino said I would recommend it to anyone.
Absolutely.
And I agree with you on everything you said. It's beautiful. It manages to... like you do laugh, but the comedy isn't at the expense of anyone.
No,
it's not. Nothing is mean spirited. This is just natural comedic things that would happen in life if you were in this situation, which doesn't seem like a scenario where anything interesting would happen.
Right.
But it oddly, as you said, it becomes this sort of unique social experiment. And as you said, it all kind of plays out positively. It's nice. It's reaffirming.
It is.
It makes you believe in humanity again. It's like, wow.
100%.
While being funny, while being, you know, it was really good.
My hat is off to the filmmakers because they probably filmed so much content and they really crafted this movie that was compelling and you were kind of like caught up in it.
And I love them because, and I think you said this before, not right now, but in the past, that could have easily been edited to be completely different,
to be a hit piece,
be mean, to make fun of the religious woman, to make fun of Benny for basically being a hick.
But there's a woman with no teeth.
It treated everyone with dignity, and it just let it play. But it's like you said, all that hours of footage to make this compelling and put together, not be a hit job on anyone, make everyone look good, be compelling, have this great message of humanity. I don't know. It's great.
Personally, for a family, it's infinitely rewatchable and infinitely quotable once you watch this movie at least once. Watch this movie once, you'll have a few quotes in your head, watch it again, and you'll be quoting so many lines. It's just great. It really is. I know there's maybe a small fan base out there for this movie already, but Tarantino really did something for this movie, which is kind of the quick collector story that I also have about this movie. And in a way, it's a confessional as well, that I hope, Russ, you'll allow me to share before we wrap up, is that, okay, so I watched that interview right that night, downloaded that movie the next day, watched it, like nailed it, loved it, had to immediately say, okay, I got to get my hands on this thing. Go to their website, which I found, and long sold out, not available anymore. You know, they had whatever the run was, it's over. Went on Amazon, not there anymore. Basically all that's left is like the DVD version, which I don't even know that I could get my hands on at that point. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess it's eBay for me. So I go to eBay, there's one copy available and it's unopened. It's, you know, brand new. And they have it up there for like $29.99 or something. And it's not buy it now, it's bidding. And I looked at the past and like when other ones had been put out and there hadn't been any other ones put on eBay in a very long time. And I'm like, shit, like this is maybe this is more rare than I thought. Maybe this is something that, okay, I got to get my hands on this thing. I love it so far, so I got to get it. So the day comes where I'm going to go bid on this thing and I'm actually at work. And I'm watching it the whole time. I haven't bid on anything yet. There's like an hour left and I'm getting ready to go into a work meeting that I'm going to like barely have any time to get back to my desk to place the bid. So I place the bid before I go in and I do something outrageous just to make sure that I'm going to get this movie. And I put in a $100 bid on this movie that's $29.99. Go to my meeting, I come back. I had a little bit of time to spare, more than I thought, because the meeting got done early. I came back, there's like 6 minutes left. The movie is now up to $123. $123
for a DVD.
And I'm like, holy shit. Like, what is this movie? Like, is this just something that everyone's sought after? Like, what is this thing? I can't even believe this. So I'm like, here comes my confessional, you guys. I said, fuck it. I'm already in too deep. I gotta go. I mean, I was gonna pay. I gotta go for it. So I went and I put in. It was like, it ended up being like $127. And I didn't tell my wife that for a very long time. I didn't tell my wife this until the end of this story. The end of this story, there is a happy ending. There is a happy ending. This that I'm holding did not cost me $127. So here's sort of the funny happy ending. And if the person I tried to buy this from on eBay is watching, I do apologize. But here comes the truth. So after buying it, and I'm sitting there and I'm stewing, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I just spent $127 on this thing. And then I rationalized it, as we maybe tend to do, until I finally came to that acceptance phase where it's like, you know what? It was a great movie. You're going to love this movie forever. You're going to show this to people. This is what this is all about. This is what collecting's all about. So whatever, $127. I don't know what compelled me. I don't know why, but I went back to their website, the people that, the filmmaker's website. Mm-hmm. And this is, again, 2 days after I watched this Quentin Tarantino thing and had gone to their website, and it was out of stock completely. 2 days later, on their website now is the Tarantino clip from Jimmy Fallon. They have now posted it on there. And it's like, look at this quote from Quentin Tarantino, like this. And now we're going to be putting out another run of these movies, and it's going to be back out in like a month, and you can pre-order now for $24.99. And I was like, holy shit, I just spent $100 more for a movie that is now going to be put back out because the filmmakers saw the same clip that I saw. They watched and they were like, holy shit, this is the time.
Tarantino's right. We did make a pretty good movie. Like, let's put that for sale again.
They're like, this is the time. People saw this. They maybe want it again. We're going to do another run. So I was like, so I messaged the guy on eBay like pretty much right away. And I was like, hey, this bid happened by accident. My wife did this. Or I forget. I blamed someone else saying like, we accidentally bid this much, or she misunderstood how much I wanted to pay. I forget what it was. I made an excuse.
My wife, who I wouldn't admit that I spent $130 to buy this shit in the first place. It's her fault.
It is.
She did.
It is. I made some excuse like, this should obviously no one's going to spend $128 in this movie, dude. Obviously, and I was kind of nice saying maybe the person that bid it up that much before would be interested in taking it from you. Like maybe you can reach back out to them and they would buy it. But I'm sorry, this is too much for me. Blah blah blah. I went right away and I canceled that, and then I bought it for $24.99, and it came in the mail like a week later, and here I have it. So hands on Hardbody. Took me a while to get it. Eventually got it in a really roundabout way. Almost spent over $100. But see, that should tell you something. That's what I felt about this movie. And if you care about this channel at all, if you like documentaries, if you like wholesome things, if you like movies that are kind of funny or that you can kind of like laugh at a little bit, but then still feel something for, I would, as Tarantino would, recommend Hands on a Hardbody to any human being that walks the earth. And that's all we got. Russ, do you have anything else you'd like to share?
I'd recommend Hands on a Hardbody as well.
Okay.
Fantastic film.
Fantastic. Well, next week we're going to be back. We're going to have a lot of other stuff to share. I think we're going to go through some of Russ's famous autographs that we didn't get a chance to cover today, but Russ has got a slew of autographs from famous celebrities? What'd you call these A-list celebrities, Russ? More the CD area. And
I only associate with A-list people.
Okay.
Present company
included. Well, next week we'll be back with more news, some more updates, some more recommendations. And thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everybody for watching. Please subscribe. Please like. Please come visit. Please check us out more and more, and drop some comments. Engage with us in the community. We appreciate it. See you soon.